Tobago News Day.
This is news to 3 p.m. on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. I am Aruna Bansi. Good afternoon. The Prime Minister shies away from discussing public protests. Police Commissioner says he would not suspend officers in killings of Mova trio. He has been arrested. The opposition leader has criticized the Prime Minister over protests in the city. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has declined to discuss yesterday's protest at several national hotspots. Dr. Rowley shied away from commenting when he was approached by the media today after attending a public function in San Fernando. The office of the Prime Minister has said that Dr. Rowley would speak at a news conference tomorrow. Police Commissioner Gary Griffith is holding strong to his position not to suspend the 3 youths of Second Caledonia Mova last week. Mr. Griffith said today that he has faith in the investigations being conducted by the Police Complaints Authority. The killings of the 3 men led to widespread protests yesterday in Port of Spain and other urban communities. The protesters called for justice. Mr. Griffith claimed that the protest arrested a total of 72 people, including politician Fuad Abubakar. A senior police officer was this morning arrested. Acting Assistant Commissioner Totaram Duki was held at his Tabellan home by officers of the Professional Standards Bureau. According to reports, Duki was told under arrest in relation to allegations dating back to 2017 and 2018. He was escorted to the Cepero Street, San Fernando offices of the police unit. Duki was due to be interviewed in the presence of his attorneys. Reports indicate he being sent on vacation last year by Police Commissioner Gary Griffith. Opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar has expressed concerns over yesterday's protests in Port of Spain and elsewhere. Ms. Persad-Bissessar said the protests resulted from what she termed the punitive measures of the government of Prime Minister Dr. Keith. The most neglected and vulnerable communities have suffered the most. She criticized the government for its response, claiming that it has failed to properly represent citizens who have faithfully given their votes to the PM. Ms. Persad-Bissessar said that Dr. Rowley is nowhere to be found to provide urgent and decisive national leadership. Continuing investigation into the shooting death yesterday of 53-year-old fruit vendor Devanand Sugrim. According to the police reports, Sugrim was at his stall at Suchish Trace Pinal at around 5:30 p.m. yesterday when a vehicle pulled alongside. A man stepped out and there was a brief verbal confrontation. Sugrim was shot several times. The assailant reported his vehicle and drove off. This was news to 3 p.m. on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. Up next is Politics 2020 with Mr. Ken Ali and Ms. Ann Duki. I am Aruna Bansi. Good afternoon.
That was Major News to the Hour, brought to you by Crystal Beverages Company.
7.5 Multicultural Radio from Monday to Thursdays for the best discussions on the issues that matter to you. Journalists Ken Ali and Ann Duki talk to top personalities, give you breaking news and provide matters. Only on U975 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. Visit Eddie's Pharmacies Limited newest location inside JTA Supermarket, C3 Center, Current Village, San Fernando. They offer blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, and pregnancy testing, as well as all for-the-counter drugs, along with CDAP prescriptions. Sagicor CariCare International Medical Card, Guardian Life Provider Card, and Republic Bank points are all accepted at their 3 locations of Eddie's Pharmacy Limited: RS Building, Roshan Building in Pinal, and C3 Center, Current Village, San Fernando.
KY's Electrical Supplies Limited of Southern Main Road, Cunupia, for all your plumbing and electrical supplies, filters and water pumps, plus all parts for Gould, Pentax, and Leo pumps. Choose from leading brands such as Cooper, Varma, BTCino, Leviton, and General Electric. Call 665-6954 for more information. KY's Electrical Supplies Limited of Southern Main Road, Cunupia.
It is back. Talk Your Talk is back. This is Mukesh Baburam inviting you to join me right here on U975 FM for the return of Talk Your Talk from 6 to 9 p.m. Enjoy your favorite segments and feel free to make your comments. Talk Your Talk. Talk Your Talk.
Kathy's Cool Spot Enterprises Limited, number 86 Pearville, opposite the TSTT Exchange in Mayaro. We specialize in all types of meats, dry goods, liquor, beverages, ice, LPG, gas, motor oils, stationery supplies, and photocopying. We also provide rentals of tents and chairs for your every occasion. Come in and take advantage of our specials at reduced prices on liquor, wholesale, and retail. We are open every day, even on public holidays, for your convenience. TT Post services are available here at Kathy's Cool Spot Enterprises Limited, Mayaro, where our friendly staff will be happy to serve you.
Grand Diamond Hotel invites you to dine in our newest and exquisite grand opening Chai Thai restaurant at LP 12 Golden Grove Road, Piaku. Come and enjoy our authentic Thai and Indian cuisine, and our outdoor terrace would be available from the 22nd of June. We can offer you our indoor and outdoor patio and rooftop restaurant dining. All meats halal. For reservations, call 331-5013-320-1093. Our email address chaithai19@gmail.com. Opening hours 11 a.m. to 10. Takeaway and delivery services are available 11 a.m. to 2:20 p.m. Secured parking and excellent services.
Bubbles vendors and roti makers. Try our high-quality unbleached bromate-free all-purpose and baker's flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg, and 25 kg bags. For wholesale and retail prices, contact Shiklisha Limited, 665-3336, or visit us at Warrenville, Cunupia. Shiklisha Limited, quality you can trust.
For quality items, visit Super Quality Supermarket of Endeavour Road, Chaguanas, and Trin City Industrial Estate in Trin City, as well as Quality Cash and Carry Supermarket, Cuba Car Park. For vegetables, not forgetting their bed and bath section and kitchen appliances for your home. With so many items to choose from, take advantage of our great prices and discounts at any of our 3 locations: Trin City Industrial Estate in Trin City, Endeavour Road, Chaguanas, and Cuba. For quality items, Super Quality Supermarket and Quality Cash and Carry Supermarket.
.312 in Trinidad and Tobago this Wednesday, 1st day of July 2020. Thank you very much for staying with us. Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. 3 to 6 p.m. we go with our colleagues of the newsroom for the 3 p.m. newscast. A major 4 p.m. news bulletin comes up, and then at 6 p.m. also. In between, we deal with the issues of the day. We give you updates on the news and current affairs. And Duki, my name is Ken Ali. And we're here with Shiva Parasram, who has us on YouTube.com, RCLU975. You can get us there. In addition to that, we are on internet website, and also, of course, on that you can reach us on our messages. An increasing number of listeners and fans everywhere. We thank you, and we thank our sponsors who are with us. We thank you very much for being with us. A lot to share. Let us start by saying happy Canada Day in Independence Day in Canada to all the Canadians in our listenership. I know, Shiva, you have a very close family there, so it's a big day in Canada. Best wishes. I understand they have virtual fireworks today, virtual fireworks, because, of course, they can't have it publicly. So happy Independence Day to Canada, a big day to all the Canadians. We have a number of listeners in Canada. So best wishes to you, and we thank you very much for being in our audience. As we go on, before I get into several other matters, we're just hearing, Shiva, I don't know if you're a cricket fan, but you may know of Sir Everton Weekes. He was the last of the famous 3W. Sir Everton Weekes has just died. Sir Everton Weekes, he was a Barbadian. Weekes, Walcott, and Worrell. Weekes, Walcott, and Worrell. That was it. And there were tremendous cricketers in the 60s and the 70s. And Sir Everton Weekes, he outlived them all. And the famed 3W has died today. I'm talking about deaths. And Errol Ashe was a Calypsonian. He has passed away. He's the father of Karine Ashe, who was a Calypso monarch. We told you yesterday, Sam Budram, classical and singer, pioneer, stalwart, highly, as you would have heard, has not tomorrow. He says the opposition has issued a formal statement. We want to get into that today. The Minister of National Security, well, he issued a statement yesterday, but the police commissioner has been making the rounds in saying that he is convinced this is organized crime that led to what took place. He is saying that he's not sending home the officers, he's not suspending them. He's saying he's prepared to meet the husband of Onella Joseph. I'll get her surname in a while. Who was pregnant with a sixth child and was killed yesterday. You recall to blame being cast against the opposition leader. We got to take a bet on that, you know. The government started to blame the opposition leader. Very sad. And so on, they're suggesting that she and the UNC are behind this organized protest. So that is what took place. We are hearing of some protests in the capital city as we speak. We're hearing one person who's just given. Thank you very much for that update. At Nelson Street, some protests, other places protests, and I want to get into that matter again today. I think there have been, the circumstances have changed, but I thought it was a very good editorial. In fact, I'll try to get it and read it quickly, read parts of it, because there are some paragraphs in that, especially the opening paragraph that I really want to share with our listeners. So I would do that. There's been a kind of simplistic view in terms of this matter. And there are several aspects of this that we must spend some time to note. And this is not just lawlessness, although it is lawlessness. It is rioting and so on, but it is, we are reaping the unchecked criminality. We are reaping the whirlwind for the PNM, successive PNM governments not doing so to develop and to create opportunities and to harness what is happening in the inner cities. I keep referring to a report done by Dr. Ryan of what's happening at Laventille. Dagger aimed at the heart of the capital city, and unless that is dealt with, it will get worse. Well, it has gotten worse. Let me read the opening paragraph of the Express editorial. You know, I've always been, not always, but very often come and cite the Express, because I really feel in the scheme of things, the Express is one of the most honest observers of and straightforward in terms of national affairs. When people don't like it, like boycott the Express and so on. I'm no great particular fan of any other sections of the media, but I like to give credit where I think it is deserved. Here's what the Express editorial starts with saying: without presenting a shred of evidence, National Security Minister Stuart Young wants the population to accept that the protests erupted in dispossessed communities across the country are the actions of criminals paid to do the bidding of unidentified persons. I want to read another paragraph. Going one step further, but also without evidence, Police Commissioner Gary Griffith condemned the protesters as, quote, a well-orchestrated plot by certain gang leaders, unquote, planning, quote, mayhem, fear, and destruction, unquote. Now, it goes on to criticize the police commissioner. We recall also, we were saying yesterday, where was the police commissioner? Hours we couldn't find him, and then when he emerged with one lengthy statement, longer than the statements the UNC does issue, and that is not easy to do. But eventually he emerged with a long statement. Now, I want to tell you what the Express said about a member of parliament representing them has dared to show their face line now. Also conspicuously absent on the scene from the action has been Commissioner Griffith, a man not usually shy to show up. But hear what he said today. Now, Anne and all, listen, I'm not a military person, so forgive me for saying this. But let me put it again in context, because I like this one. I want to take, believe me when I tell you, I'm quoting correctly. How these military people is reach for these. Now, and somebody else would say, well, you know, he was holed up in his office and he's watching on TV or something. He said, no, I was in command center. I like these military fellas, and Rafik Shah used to quote those terms for us and thing a long time. When you're around these military people, more than forward, they make the same point. We, I want to say we, our many listeners and callers yesterday made. I want to commend our listeners. People tell me really we have the best callers. Someone was saying this morning of the value they bring to discussion, and I want to thank them. And whatever shades of opinion you hold on this, we all welcome, and is that in which I think help influence thought in this country. So I want to, on that notation, and we hope we continue to develop that, especially as we head to the general election of 2020. All right. So we've laid the outline for the show. As always, some murders taking place in the country. We're not proud to say that. There's some sporadic protests. Comes in to talk economics, and we have another guest with him. We remind you tomorrow, just after 4 p.m., we have an NIS expert. I'm very anxious to share with him. He has 30 years plus experience in NIS, and he is coming to discuss and answer all your questions. So get ready to an exchange with him. So we have all of that for you. It's 3:21, so it's on that note a good time to ask you to join our conversation. We are at 636-7547-2275739. Feel free to call us. We also on, as we told you, so show of the news this hour. So Everton Weeks of the 3Ws has died. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, Ken, and your listeners. Thanks for a wonderful program.
Well, we said that to our listeners. They were going to do that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Another point I want to talk about, right? I'm not hearing from the Minister of Labour. What's the unemployment situation in this country? How many people losing their job? How much getting their job? And what is happening with you all? Because, I mean, when I watch around and see what is happening, right? A lot of businesses closing. A lot of people is losing their job. But I'm not hearing nothing from the government at all.
We have not heard anything from her over the last 5 years. So she's true to form.
Yeah, I know,
it doesn't make it right.
You know, country, and I'll leave it up to you again.
Thank you. Yeah, well, you know, on that note, I also remember the Recovery Committee sent in a report. We haven't heard an action plan from the government in terms of implementation, and it's time. I mean, this is an urgent national multilateral agencies. Can he make a centurion, or he make the tide test also?
Worrell was in Australia.
He was captain.
He was captain.
Yes.
But I want to agree with the opposition leader this afternoon, Mr. Ali, when she criticized Dr. Rowley for not being on the scene. You know, nowhere to be found in constituencies. Protested in town, people getting shot to death, others getting shot, beaten, you know, bonfire in town, the whole port has been a chaos. Banks had to close up early, businesses had to close up and send home their staff, Mr. Ali. And others in Port of Spain, all over the country, the Prime Minister nowhere. He's coming to Tobago playing golf, rightly or wrongly, but I mean, they had a good case because they were condemning police injudicious killing by police officers. You understand? Here's something coming from
yes, that is leadership. I agree with you. Not a word.
Those are the same people in a couple of months' time. You're running back to tell better have your own bed.
And not only that, he sends his security minister to say the same provocative statements he makes all the time. Yes. You know, he says the same thing, pointing fingers at the opposition.
Opposition, yes.
Yes.
And while we last night talk about the the bail bill is because the opposition has supported the bail bill.
Yes, yeah.
That's such a shippiness over
All
and over.
roads lead to one chorus all the time with them. Yes.
And you're going back to the same people now and asking them for the vote and telling them all kind of foolishness, but them people and those people and the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know. All kind of damn foolishness you're going back to tell them in 2 months' time. You understand? But when they're looking for you to make a statement, you're absent, you're playing golf in Tobago. Thank you, Mr. Ali.
Yes, thank you. I agree with you. Leadership crisis also and address the national community. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Ken and Ann.
Afternoon.
Ken, I just came out from that Barataria Sangwan area, and from the videos I'm seeing on social media, it looked like it was Spain again. Nelson Street, Elot, those in authority to deal with that once and for all. They cannot be treating these people with kids' gloves anymore. Country yesterday, many people left their jobs earlier than before. Some didn't go to work, and they are putting. People are really scared now, and I'm confident to deal with the situation once and for all. And my other point is, I see that they have detained Senior Superintendent Totaram Duki of the PSB.
Yes.
Now it's just my thinking. I am asking if this is a diversionary tactic to get people's attention away from what is happening. Because that he's an assistant commissioner of police.
Yes, senior
and he
man.
held a very senior position with with professional standards bureau. And I am wondering, I am asking if that was well orchestrated. This all is 2 hours or 3 hours Gary Griffith was missing. If all this was part of the plan to get people instead of what is happening on the street.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ken. Good afternoon. Remember?
Yes.
To see Dr. Williams started, they say, who are we are some somebody come along and talk. Williams says, don't do that. Once you come out of jail again, it's something to do your guy. And what has been happening is these people have been courted to behave that way. Is that this country have opportunities? Education will kill the grave. My part and CCC and YTEP and science getting stipend too. But the mindset. I don't want to go and do that. I'm supposed to get money free. Because at the end of it all, when they don't go education, they don't go by these programs that they have, you have CPAP and you have B. So what are we doing? Thank you much, Ken.
Yes, indeed. With your calls, 3:29. We remind you, Wade comes in at 5 when he has another guest all course of the afternoon. Good afternoon to you.
Let me say good afternoon to you, Ken.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Ms. Duki.
Afternoon.
And Ken, I want to say that today, on the 3rd day of our protest in our country, special journalist. Because I find that is his special journalist, Posamak. And Ken, the language and the aggressive man talk, I call it my words, and the gangster talk in my words, create this 3rd day here. The residents are asking it for something of comfort. And they're painting this thing because remember Guy Griffith come from politics, and they're painting this thing. It is not politically linked by no political party. PNM, UNC, the small parties, the big parties. It is nothing like that. Certain people in high society today vexed that the Muslim and the Rasta city stop kill themselves. I don't know what will take place, what they achieve. But so far, people in this country do not want to see African unite. So they will do anything and say anything and label people out there as criminals and so a child out there who is 5 years old, 6 years old.
I want to ask you a few questions. Because clearly you are aware, tell me if I'm correct here, you are aware of the protest. Is that correct to say?
Yes.
Right. Now, why are the protests continuing after the statements by the Minister of National Security and the Police Commissioner? Are you all not comforted by?
They are asking for the officers who shoot, all who was there, to be suspended forthwith until the investigation is finished.
Right. And you know, Kingsley, that the commissioner said today he's not suspending.
Watch the international world and they see police all over the world what do wrong, they get suspended and the investigation continue. It kind of gets painted like this country is a police state and it is a dictatorship. Our laws, our constitution laws in this country need to be changed because so far 70% of the country are saying that is murder because they are seeing the camera footage. Some people could have the technology in the house, could zoom in and see the fellas them hands up in the air and all these kind of things. So you are seeing that since yesterday, since this morning. Most of all, it's not the East Indian community. It's PNM says PNM children out there. Ask them children out there who the mother and the grandmother that's vote for. Who the grandmother and the mother and the father that's tell them who to vote for. All these children out there is not UNC children. They come from the belly of the beast. PNM. So when Stotiong try to pain PNM people, because I have to ask the question, because Stotiong say people paying people, so I have to ask the question, do PNM paying people to go out there and protest? I'm asking the question, because these individuals out there, and there's two known, I call her name, a talk show by the name of Shoma Wilson, her son, and them is Dial PNM, known talk shows on the radio, known supporter of the PNM, and them is out there too, so them taking pay from individuals with the pay thing. You mustn't discuss that. You mustn't make that a topic. You must over that talk. Okay, but before I go, Ken, again, I ask the community, this peaceful demonstration, crying out for justice. It is not to hurt. It is not to rob and interfere and break in stores. Because me, Kingsley, I wouldn't be in that. I believe, and once again, I believe that it has some good service, but I believe that this thing, ask them calm themselves. Go out there with a word of peace. I am saying that every police and get attacked, they have all right to react.
Thank you, Kingsley. Thanks for the update and keep giving us updates on this matter. We value your input and we want to get the take actually of all those who have an knowledge into what is happening, and we want to hear all shades of opinion. We want to ventilate all views on this matter. So Kingsley, we thank you for that, and those who could share their insights, we are very glad to hear it on the air. Good afternoon to you. Hi, good afternoon.
Hello?
Yes.
Mr. Ali?
Sir.
Good afternoon, and Ms. Duque.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir.
You have the best late afternoon show in TNT.
Thank you,
five
sir.
others.
Thank you.
You lick them off, you get the most callers, you get the most views, and you're on the right show. What Kingsley said is quite correct, but I'd like to add something to that. Because you asked the question, if after Mr. Griffith talk, feels hurt about this thing, mother crying, sister crying, everybody crying. My son leave here to go and buy a bottle of rum. He put up his hand and police shoot him. Send him back in the car and shoot them. This thing needs investigation. Now, you cannot tell me about PCA. PCA is not an investigative committee. They take what you will call conflict or whoever against police infringing the rights of others. And as I said yesterday, I say today again, there is one body that is authorized to investigate crime or what you will call homicide, murders, and that is the Homicide Bureau. There are 12 of them in country, and those people are trained to go to the scene, take whatever evidence they have, and get it together and write to so-and-so, and it will eventually go to the DPP for vetting. Now, all the others that got killed during the year, if the public feel that it was advantage taken on the people, because you must remember the commissioner say it is collateral damage, and he say one shot, one must dead. The commissioner's statement. So listen to what I am saying. to answer your question why they wouldn't demonstrate again if they hear from the Commissioner of Police or the Minister of National Security, instead of saying it's Kamala involved and big shot people and gangsters and so on, call the homicide bureau. Let them come, leave the people there. You shot the people to death, leave them there, because you're contaminating the scene when you move when they are already dead. Call the DMO, call somebody when people are saying that they were shot in cold blood, and let the Homicide Bureau investigate. And while the Homicide Bureau is investigating, the family of the victims must have a lawyer, either a legal aid lawyer or their own lawyer must step forward to be a part of the investigation. And that will quell the marches and the feel satisfied until they are sure that the competent people are marking the scene, taking up the evidence. Why they gone with the shells? They gone with everything. And you know, the scene of revolver. You tell me 3 police vehicles can judge with 12 policemen, each one have a rifle and a 45. And a man going to go in a car and pick up a little 22 gun and point it at the police. I know these fellas are mad, but they're not so mad. That is suicide. Get it investigated by the competent authority and get a report onto the DPP. Let the DPP say this is good, person should be charged. And immediately that happens, suspicion, they should go home and cool themselves.
Yes.
Cool themselves and give a statement to homicide and let the witnesses and the people take the video and so on to see they have the hand in the ear and so on. Let those people testify and let the that's the only way the people feel. Because I come out of, just like in King say, I come out of the belly of these people who are suffering. Belmont and Lavantil. Belmont is the foothills of Lavantil and the foothills of Mova. And when these things happen, I grieve too, because in my people they kill. And they're saying that other people pay them. Now here you going to tell me that those other people are so powerful to go in a PNM area. PNM never lost in Lavantil Mova. Never. With the 33-3, they did not lose. PNM people to march. Man, I don't want to hear these kind of lies. These are aggravating the people. And let me tell you something. If they continue on that trend, it's done, you know, Mr. Ali, you will hear killing, because the Minister of National Security constituencies in Belmont. And it is difficult for him to intimidate Belmont people and come up there to campaign. He might be paying for rough treatment. But I see Belmont people full bottle of beer already, you know, in favor of the PNM.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry to take so long.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. And I agree with your analysis. Absolutely. I think it's absolutely well. And it's what we've been saying since yesterday also. Listen, you cannot escape suspending the, and when we suspend, I don't know what are the terms and conditions. Some people are suspended with half pay, 3/4 pay, full pay, and so on. I'm not getting into that, but they need to be out of the line of work. It is unacceptable. Now I hear the commissioner saying there were 38 people or debate people who confronted those 3 guys. There must be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or how many? Those are the guys you've got to deal with. It is unacceptable. It is unacceptable. And if Commissioner Griffith says he is inspired by what Mr. Bratton, Bill Bratton would have said. I want to research that. Bill Bratton would have said in circumstances like this, suspend them. This is what they did with the officers. All these other cases, in fact, in today's program, are going to research how the Americans deal with it. So we can't be talking, the commissioner can't be talking out of both sides of his mouth on this issue. And you see, I think one of the things that is, I think the commissioner's mouth is getting him in trouble. People initially like his aggressive, take no prisoners style, but that must be coupled with fairness, justice. All right, and nobody, I don't know, there's no right thinking person who is suggesting that if these guys are criminals, they shouldn't be locked up and face the justice system. Nobody is saying that. But we've had a number of such cases of police brutality, and we have a commissioner, according to him, the gospel according to Gary Griffith is no police officer really does any wrong, If you understand what he's telling us, and the society is fighting back and say that is not acceptable. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Is Zuki there?
Afternoon, yes, I'm right here.
Good afternoon, Mama. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
I think you missed the boat here.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a lover of Mr. Griffith, but I remember there was a police, and just recently we observed the news 2 weeks ago. Griffith asked a policeman that was involved with that incident, say, please, there are too much police officers on these kind of matters. Already 44 for murder, already take volunteer. I willing to give them voluntary retirement so they still go home with something. You know what they did? They take him to court. So there is no way after he going through that experience a week ago for you to come and just tell
but prove what you just said. That is your theory. And boss, that is your theory. No, you're trying to defend the indefensible, and you come up with a theory. Yeah, listen, I don't know this Fed court.
Hold on.
Well,
any police officer, what any policeman do is and accused of doing anything wrong and tell him go home? Could you go to a public servant, although he's accused of something wrong, and you may have the evidence, police commissioner to court for asking him to take voluntary retirement because he's on a murder case? The police commissioner set us how many officers are involved in how many matters, and he can't deal with it, and he can't say.
Found them guilty of anything. They deserve justice, and they deserve fairness from the justices, and they deserve urgent justice to immediate, as quickly as is possible. Find out they face the penalty. If they're not guilty, they get their names cleared. But you can't be selective in imposing justice. And I think we have a commissioner who really doesn't like people to say to him, this must be done and that must be done. All right, and I think he feels a little bit intimidated by that. Good afternoon to you.
Mr. Ali, what you find happening now on the air with this killing way happening is they trying to make excuse of Mr. Gary Griffith as a commissioner of police talks too much. He moved in everything and he's paying for it proper.
Mm-hmm.
And the police service is a PNM party group.
Mm-hmm.
They do no wrong. The same thing happening in San Fernando. It's happening to Mr. Ali Operation. So that's what's happening there. This is PNM country. But you know what happened now, Mr. Ali?
Mm-hmm.
The chicken has come home to the roof.
Yes.
And we now see this is a preview of the coming attraction. You know?
Yes.
The PNM area has been, what shall they treat them over the years, 56 years? 1952 now, what shall they keep it? PNM people are talking to make backyard yard and hope it's concrete.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'm going to read a paragraph, the lengthy paragraph from the Express editorial today, and I dedicate it. You know how on music program they dedicate a song to somebody, right? The previous
yes,
call.
Baratari.
I dedicate this to you, sir. You know this dedicate a song. All right. Here, this is not me saying so. This is the Express editorial. I hold no brief for the Express editorial. The Express says, we again call for the immediate suspension of all officers involved in Saturday's shootings and for the Judicial and Legal Service Commission to appoint a special coroner to conduct an inquest within an urgent and defined time frame. We make this call in the interest of public trust and transparency. We note the assurances from both Minister Young and Commissioner Griffith that the killings will be investigated by the Police Complaints Authority and the Police Service. However, it is public knowledge that the PCA is probes into police killings for years. Further, the TTPS must accept the lack of confidence by the public generally and the community specifically in its ability to conduct independent investigations into alleged misdeeds by police officers, a current example being its handling of the investigation into ACP Erwin Hackshaw. Now, Mr. Baratari, I dedicate that to you. You understand the point. Not me saying so, I've found reason in the past to disagree with the Express. I find this a very sober, balanced analysis by the Express. This is why I started the program by paying tribute to the Express. And I think it speaks for most people in the country. It speaks for most people. But our dear friend, there are some people who would defend the status quo at any level. Our dear friend from Baratari is one of that. No, they can't do wrong, or the other side can't do no right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I want to know something. Right? You know what I know?
Go ahead, sir. We're hearing you.
You know what I know?
Go ahead, sir. Make your point. Make your point.
I make a point there. I know the name of a person to the unknown thing. Hello?
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good
I'm glad that you had a question to say this for me. What do you think they are asking for? You know why they had to ask for it? Because of the same public bureaucracy. So they can't say that the state could.
Oh, so you change your line now. Right.
I haven't changed my line. I'm just pointing out to you that the line you know need to be stating the same thing that I am stating.
No, that's not what I say. All right, okay. Well, I'm glad you've seen it. You shared that view. I'm glad it took me reading the Express editorial for you too. Okay, so we share something in common. 10 minutes to the hour of 4 p.m. Yes, and yes, we have a time check for you today sponsored, but first it's 10 minutes to the hour 4 p.m. and that time check brought to you by Mr. Rajendra Rampasad. Mr. Rajendra Rampasad is the People's National Movement candidate. We're happy to welcome him and all our advertisers on board. And we're happy to have you and everyone else. In fact, we thank all our many listeners and our advertisers for joining our team and for making us #1 afternoon talk show. Thank you very much. 9 minutes to the hour of 4 p.m. We go until 6, and we have Ved Siram coming in. We want to talk about the politics also. The PNM is screening for its final seat tomorrow for that is 16, 17 seats.
16.
Yeah, no word yet with respect.
Speaking about that in my area in Naparima, Ken, I'm seeing the PNM all over the place walking,
and no
while
sign
the
of
UNC candidate have not even been named by the party.
Yes, and you know, and UNC people are not happy to hear that. Well, the leadership, but there is a lot of anxiety about the UNC not naming candidates. Good afternoon.
Mr. Ali, good afternoon to you, and good afternoon. Hold on. Thursday night, you don't know. You see, we are a party not going to rush and to rush. I mean, in the end of the day, we need to get as fast as possible. But if the leader chooses to beyond my control, you understand? So I believe that we will see what happens. But Mr. Ali, my good friend from Barataria, you understand? I always tell him, nothing wrong with calling a program. Do some kind of substance in it, Mr. Ali. Make some sense. Because in the end of the day, my friend, we all have to live here. And you and I know that this administration is more dangerous than any other administration past here. And I believe in fairness. You understand what happened yesterday? It is true. And how they treat the people, Mr. Ali. They treat the people them so bad that the people get to know in that way. You understand? You take the vote, and what you do, you use them, and you give them a Rari, Short Young, Rohan Sinanan, and all them people, all them businessmen, all them gain fat. You understand? While your people them who support you, you leave them in the wilderness. So they must get on. I mean, they get on wrong. Understand? And they're not going to condone this type of thing. There are ways of doing things. But in the end of the day, Mr. Ali, the PNM stronghold for the way how PNM treat them. And the supporters who call in the radio program, you understand? Who say there's PNM, be able to kind of courteous, be able to loving to your fellow colleagues and who vote for your party. You understand? Instead of chastising them and pulling them down. You understand? So I will go back again, my brother, and I will see what happens from there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, continue.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Ali and Mr. Ann. Ken, sometimes you have a thought in your mind and you call and you're waiting to talk.
No, I know what happened there.
My friend from Monday, there? He said it.
It's not that. Let me tell you what happened to you. That is happening around Ann. Ann is get people nervous, you know, get the play.
That is why it is be so uptight.
But now you know.
Listen, guys, I'm fine. Say you deal with it.
So take your time and make a point now. Well,
because sometimes, although we may have common sense and we think what we are doing is right, sometimes we are our own mind's enemy. What we think is our own enemy. And without any thought about racialism or any downplaying anybody, I'm not about that. I don't think that way. Let me state it that way. these fellas and them who riot and think what it was, they are their own worst enemy. Their mindset is their worst enemy. And when they could, like Bob Marley say, mental slavery, only but you could free your mind. And once they could get that mindset right, they will have their future bright. Because they, like Mondesi said, they enslaved to the PNM. Look, who are the vote? Look, they're quick to come up and say that the Indians down in DB and think they get land and whatever and this and this. But these people toil and they make themselves what they are. They didn't get no handout from anybody to build their mansions. And they toil.
All right, but okay, I hear that point, but let's also acknowledge these protesters not making that point, eh? I mean, you could make the point if you want, but I don't. This protest on that.
No, it is a point that they have to bring themselves to realize that they have to make themselves what they want to be and not slave of the PNM.
Right.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, good. All right, thank you. We're heading to 4 p.m. We take your calls. To heading to the hour, and then of course we continue after 4 p.m. Good afternoon to you.
Evening, Mr. Kennedy.
Afternoon.
Miss Andu.
Hello.
You know, one thing, the one little fault, not only one fault, there one thing the commissioner, but I'll say that for the element that want to go against the law. You don't be showing bait for them like a little, like in practice school little child, right? You gotta do what you gotta do. You know, he chewing bait about 1990 and anything happen to be in 7 minutes time, I will get destroyed this. I mean, no.
Yes.
It is guys are way of, like fuel and fire now.
It's bad.
But
Apparently it's part of his DNA.
No, at his level, no. At his level, it don't operate like that. You do what needs to be done. As a matter of fact, if I was him, so yesterday when I declared the emergency in Port of Spain for about 9 o'clock last night, straight to about 5 this morning, anybody other than workers coming out to work on the road, gotta say why you're on the road. That'll be my plan, me. I'm making no joke. I don't. Once you know you're outside legal, you're a legitimate business, do I fear the police? Yeah, so that'll be my take on the matter.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. Thank you. Well, we as we were telling you, there have been protests in Port of Spain. We'll continue to monitor that and to tell you what's happening. Good afternoon.
Guyana thing.
The CCJ is meeting today. The Caribbean Court of Justice. Right. So that appeal has gone. Remember the appeal? Oh, we got to go. It's 4 o'clock. The appeal.
Right.
We'll give you an update after that. Okay.
And one thing before I
quickly.
Go, Mr. Hines wouldn't go here, Mr.
For that after 4. Let's talk about that after 4. Good.
Call us back.
Yeah, call us back. We head to the news now.
Time has come. New 97.5. 97.5 FM. Music for you. It's all about you.
New 97.5 FM, Hot Like Pepper, Multicultural Radio.
This is Major News to 4 p.m. on U97.5, Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. In the headlines, Police Commissioner says he would not suspend officers in killings of Morva Trio. A senior police officer has been arrested. The opposition leader has criticized the Prime Minister over protests in the city. A 36-year-old woman has been murdered in a domestic dispute. And the CCJ is hearing the appeal issue. With the details, I am Aruna Bansi. Good afternoon. Police Commissioner Gary Griffith is holding strong to his position not to suspend the officers involved in the shooting deaths of 3 youths of Second Caledonia, Morva, last week. Mr. Griffith said today that he has faith in the investigations being conducted by the police. The killings of the 3 men led to widespread protests yesterday in Port of Spain and other urban communities. The protesters called for justice. Protests were aimed at destabilizing the country. The police arrested a total of 72 people including politician Fuad Abubakar. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley is scheduled to address a news conference tomorrow. Dr. Rowley declined to discuss the matter today. A meeting is likely to take place between the Police Commissioner Gary Griffith and Darren Joseph, husband of Ornella Greaves, the pregnant woman who was shot to death during yesterday's public protests. Mr. Griffith said he would meet Mr. Joseph. Mr. Joseph. She is the second member of her family to be killed in a police confrontation. In 2013, her brother Christopher was shot during an incident involving the police. A senior police officer has been Commissioner Totaram Duki was held at his Tableland home by officers of the Professional Standards Bureau. According to reports, Duki was told he was being placed under arrest in relation to 2017 and 2018. He was escorted to the Cepero Street, San Fernando offices of the police unit. Duki was due to be interviewed in the presence of his attorneys. Reports indicate that he was due to return to work this week after being on vacation last year, but sent on vacation last year by Police Commissioner Gary Griffith. Member of LAL has branded statements of National Security Minister Stuart Young as diabolical. The opposition parliamentarian was responding to remarks by Mr. Young yesterday that protests in Port of Spain and elsewhere were politically linked. Dr. Munilal termed the statements as obnoxious and arrogant. He called for respect and adherence to the rule of law. Meanwhile, leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar has expressed concerns over the protests. Ms. Persad-Bissessar said the Ts have suffered the most. She criticized the government for its response, claiming that it has failed to properly represent citizens who have faithfully given their votes to the PNM. Ms. Persad-Bissessar said that Dr. Rowley is nowhere to be found to provide urgent and decisive national. A 6-year-old woman of Pleasant Park, Claxton Bay, has been murdered. The body of Stacey Adana Dick was found close to a bus shed in the nearby St. Margaret's community. Police officers are investigating reports that Dick was involved in a domestic dispute. She was found crouched, unresponsive, and with her clothes drenched in blood. According to the police, Dick held a knife in her hand, and upon further investigations, a bottle of rum and other items were found nearby. A man has been charged in connection with an incident at Enterprise Chaguanas. The man was charged with assaulting officers, obscene language, and damage to government property. The man was held by police on mobile patrol. The police service said the man was involved in a scuffle with a woman at the time of his arrest. Police officers are continuing investigations into the shooting deaths yesterday of 53-year-old fruit vendor Devanand Sugrim. According to the police reports, Sugrim was at his stall at Suchat Trace pulled alongside. A man stepped out and there was a brief verbal confrontation. Sugrim was shot several times. The assailants reportedly returned to his vehicle and drove off. A 51-year-old man of Karapo village has died after branches of a tree fell on him. Rajendra Kalapath of Todd Station was cutting a tree in a forested area near to Arena Dam when the incident took place. Several people reportedly provided medical aid to Kalapath. In regional news, the Caribbean Court of Justice has convened over the legal issues pertaining to the Guyana general election. The CCJ is hearing the appeal of opposition politicians Bharat Jagdeo and Irfan Ali. The court is being asked to rule on the terms of valid votes following an earlier determination by the Guyana's appeal court. The CCJ is Guyana's final court of appeal. In news, violence has flared in Hong Kong as people took to the streets against an anti-protest law imposed by China. 9 people were arrested for allegedly violating the new law. More than 300 others were detained. Thousands had gathered at the pro-democratic rally. China quietly introduced the law in an attempt to crack down on opposition to its rule. Activists claim that the law has eroded the freedom of residents of Hong Kong. Here's a look at the weather for the period of this afternoon and tonight. Trinidad, Tobago and the remainder of the Lesser Antilles. Partly cloudy, few showery periods and the low chance thunderstorms. Tonight will be hazy and warm with a light breeze. Gusty winds and street floodings may be experienced near heavy showers and thunderstorms. There is a moderate concentration of Saharan dust in the atmosphere. Sensitive persons are advised to take necessary precautions. Seas are moderate, with waves up to 2 meters in open waters and less than 1 meter in sheltered areas. Sunset is expected at 6:31 p.m. This was major news to 4 p.m. on U97.5, Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio. Continuing is Politics 2020 with Mr. Kennel. I am Aruna Bansi. Good afternoon.
That was Major News to the Hour, brought to you by Crystal Beverages Company, Super Quality Supermarket, Sheikh Leisha Limited, and the Trinidad and Tobago News Day.
The issues of the day, the newsmakers, the best analysis, your views. Join U975 Multicultural Radio from Monday to discussions on the issues that matter to you. Journalists Ken Ali and Ann Dukey talk to top personalities, give you breaking news and provide quality commentary. Be in the audience from 3 p.m. to Thursdays for Talk That Matters. Only on U975 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio.
A&S Hardware and the General Contractors Limited of 107 Bonaventure Road in Gasparillo for all your hardware material to finish, not forgetting all your general contracting needs. We have it all at A&S Hardware and the General Contractors Limited, located at 107 Bonaventure Road in Gasparillo. Just call Tiki Ali at 650-2180.
A&S Hardware are wholesalers and retailers of plywood, an assortment of lumber, galvanized pipe, hollow section and steel. Customers, pitch pine doors.
Hurry to 3C Tool Rentals, number 77 Bonaventure Road, Gasparillo, for your business and personal tool and rental needs. Available for rent: coring machines, compactors, concrete vibrators, demolition hammers, drills, saws, scarifiers, pressure washers, generators, welding units, trash pumps, hydrostatic test pumps, and so much more. We offer free transport in and around Gasparillo and at very competitive prices. Visit or call us at 650-2362 or 789-4581 for more information.
Enterprises Limited, Fairville, opposite the TSTT Exchange in Mayaro. We specialize in all types of meats, dry goods, liquor, beverages, ice, LPG, gas, motor oils, stationery supplies, and photocopying. We also provide rentals of tents and chairs for your every occasion. Come in and take advantage of our specials at reduced prices on liquor, wholesale, and retail. We are open every day, even on public holidays, for your convenience. TT Post services are available here at Kathy's Cool Spot Enterprises Limited of number 86 Fairville, Mayaro, where our friendly staff will be happy to serve you.
KY's Electrical Supplies Limited of Southern Main Road, Canupia, for oil supplies, water heaters, filters and water pumps, plus all parts for Gould, Pentax and Leo pumps. Choose from leading brands such as Cooper, Varma, BT Sino, Leviton and General Electric. Call 665-6954 for more information. KY's Electrical Supplies Limited of Southern Main Road, Canupia.
4:12 in Trinidad and Tobago. Your calls, we're hearing about some protests in the capital city. We'll tell you about that. Also, we just want to share with you the fact that there are 300 suspended police officers in the country, and in the month of May, the taxpayers $50 million a year, and it is either that they get their names cleared. 7547-227-5739 on this, the first day of July 2020, heading closer to the general election. The House of Representatives is meeting. They're dealing with a miscellaneous bill. Yesterday, the Senate meeting was aborted, the committee meeting. I think that is one. We expect that soon the Prime Minister would announce a decision.
Afternoon, killing Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You going in all that crowd, yeah, the police could shoot here, yeah, if you could get pushed down by the protesters. She had no right to go there, she was wrong. Yeah, but we don't know how she get killed, eh?
Well, she was shot, and
we don't know where who the shooter was, but she was shot.
Yeah.
Reeves.
Yeah. Yeah, and she have 5 children.
But it's sad all around, eh? It's sad all around.
All around it's sad. I'm still sorry that how she died.
Of course. Now she has 5 children.
5 children motherless.
Yes.
That's right. I'm still sorry how she died,
Of
but
course,
she shouldn't
of
go out there.
Yes, I agree
She
with you.
shouldn't, yeah. But
We said so. Happy Canada Day.
So on the big.
Nevertheless, it's Happy Canada Day, yeah. When I went there one time, we went Niagara Falls and we see all this, how you call it, the fireworks and
Fireworks. But no
It was
public
nice.
fireworks this year.
Yeah, and then you see the border, you see the United States coming from there.
Indeed, that's right.
Yes. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you very much for your call. 636-7547-227-5739. The lady is Ornella Graves. She's 30 years old. She has 5 children, pregnant with the 6th. And now her husband is not a happy man, and come I meet Gary Griffith, what I could do and what I ain't going to do and so on. I think. But he's hurting. He has lost his wife and the mother of his 5 and his 6th child. And I understand that caller making that point. I mean, this lady is pregnant, and she gone out there and taking pictures. And good afternoon. Hi, good afternoon.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, you're live.
Mr. Ali?
Yes, sir.
Belmont again.
Hi.
I disagree with the lady or the other people saying that the woman has no right to be there.
Uh-huh.
Something happened, and you correct to come out and demonstrate, regardless if you're 1 day or 8 to come out to demonstrate. There's no right of anybody to be shooting and shoot. So I don't agree with she should be.
Thank you. And it is a legitimate right to be there. Let's make that clear. It is a legal right. I think the lady out of people. But of course, she has the legal right to do that. And whether she was right to be there or not right to be there, there's no reason in the world why she should have been shot. And I think there should be, and we were making that point on this program yesterday, that there should be an investigation launched into that. Now, with all that the commissioner has been saying and not saying, because I find the more he speaks, the less we learn. But we do not know the level and the nature of that.
Mr. Kennedy.
Hi.
I couldn't hear good because it gave me some trouble, right?
Uh-huh.
But UNC, U97.5 have some kind of program going on and show something.
Show going on? Well, we have a regular show.
Then Ali or something, I forget his name, but
Okay.
I will show something with you all.
Your great friend is on from 6 p.m.
Huh?
Your friend.
Mukesh is on from 6 to 9 p.m.
Mukesh.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen to us on the air. Listen to us. We programs 418 really, and we urge you to continue to call us. We have much more we want to share. We want to tell you what is happening in the reports we're getting and some other matters taking place. We told you in the newscast about the suspension of ACP Totaram Duki, the arrest, and in fact he's in custody. And our understanding is that he is being interrogated by the police. So that is where that matter is. There were some protests today in Port of Spain, and we understand there are protests in Corinth. If you're from south, that area.
Corinth, St. Madeleine area.
Apparently it's the same area where there was and what we hear is that they've arrested a man, right? So that is what is happening in. So if you have other details,
That is the war.
Yes,
The war group. So ask the question why the minister of national, because the minister cannot really direct the police. What was his history? What was his portfolio doing there? And can you didn't see how the real music behind the background and the real saying this year it was a real kind of make-up movie now. Kind of a design to show something, to show the country something.
The video, are we talking about the same video?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the same, because it was a small 30 seconds video.
Yeah, I saw that.
And Gary Griffith talking, he's saying this here, he on the phone. It was like a interview with Bossa Mark.
Okay.
It was something like that, an interview with Bossa Mark. Again, I tell this country, yesterday, I know we are living in a police state. I'll say no more about that.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. There are a lot of videos making the rounds, and they're inevitably coming down into political type of videos too. The UNC is using it for its own benefit and the PNM. And so, and in the midst of all of that, I see a political video has come forward. We'll talk about that in a little while. Good afternoon.
Good day, Mr. Your co-host.
Good day. Good day.
Well, yesterday I was around live and direct when some misguided, I don't know what to call them again, I try to give young people the kudos, but they try to set fire, they try to burn down, they try to do all kind of things. I was wondering, I was trying to get in their head and figure out, well, what am I about? You talk to them, what's your problem? And they're so lost. They don't know what they're about. And when I see what the fellows are doing, I said, well, how they could want to interfere in people's place and put tire and light it. But wait, is that Wild West? You're watching kind of movie along there with the Japanese or there's a one or the Chinese. That comes back to my thoughts. But what I would like you to do, Mr. Kenari, it was survey had enough for Mr. Gary Griffith with the old talk and the cockroach and the one shot and the one now. The people protesters say it's your right to protest, but you must be law abiding. A woman died, people get shot. Sorry, hard luck for she. I don't know what to say again. But as a citizen, you just feel threatened, and you feel threatened big times. And the people who are supposed to safeguard this country with law and order, they wash their hands up. I try my best. Nothing good enough for me, Alice. When they're doing this stuff, let me know. I want to call us.
Well, I want to ask you, why do you say you've had enough of Gary Griffith?
You see the old talk and the stupid talk, but I don't buy by Rattan and I don't shop by Rattan. I don't pick them to the police commissioner. You expect the police commissioner to be a person with a straight face. Now, I personally fed up by Gary, the one shot, the one kill. I want to know if it's a Western. If it's a Western with Sancho or one of them fellows. So this is my call, kid. I'm not encouraging nobody to say no. I say my opinion.
Of
I
course.
think it's
We want
time
to
to
hear
go.
it.
And let me get somebody else now.
Good day.
I want to be real fast, right? Now, we are ending up like Venezuela, where we start with the Pointillist area where you see flat, right? Now we have this Gary Griffith who feel he's a dictator, right? Want to dictate country. People do not have a right in this country because if you watch the video today, you're telling the people they can have a peaceful protest, right? Opening your mouth don't mean there's a rah-rah. They didn't have a gun, they didn't have nothing burning, and we need to look at this. This man is not fit for the job, right? And
Who are you talking about here? The commissioner?
yes,
Right.
yes,
Yes.
right? It took one research, and I want people to pull it up, Google. When it's at the bombing in America, watch how long they take to address the country. Where's the Prime Minister? He's sleeping, and they want to blame the opposition. They want to blame Kamala, right? If Kamala orchestrated this, well, they're going to lock them up. All these ones that are shop talk. Let me tell you something. The PNM using this politically. They didn't do anything for the past 5 years. The plants in the industry closed down. No jobs, people lost jobs. Up to now, people can't get the 4,000 what they promised them. Right? People still waiting on that money. So they're trying to get them.
Okay. Well, that's a mouthful. You said quite a lot there. And you see, on the last point, the commissioner said judge.
By gunshot or by whatever, they have big guys, the biggest protest in Trinidad. And in the south, when you suffer them by closing without giving them a bread, so they will die and nobody protests. Thank you.
Yeah. So it's a difference in style and a difference in culture. Nobody stage a protest over the shutdown. Good afternoon to you.
Ken, just a thought here.
Uh-huh.
According to the Constitution, if a state of emergency is declared, this could run for 5 years and postpone elections.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Well, you add something new to the mix there. No. The one thing, though, this government has shown it is not inclined to hold to declare a state of emergency, which is not to say that it would not eventually, if the circumstances warrant. But yes, under a state of emergency, I think the Constitution makes room for putting off election for a specified time. Of course, my view, you can never tell because I don't think anybody had anticipated 12 or 2011 or something. So one never knows what would happen. But at this stage, I would think that is not something on the cards. Because Dr. Rowley has not shown an indication. Hopefully, the media tomorrow would ask him that about that matter, about calling a state of emergency. Okay, 4:26. We expect Vade and a businessman, a senior businessman, and we're going to talk finance. Is that going to impact investments and all those things? If you have any information, we heard about protest in Corinth and they arrested a young man over that protest. So that is one matter taking place. The PNM is going to screen for the final candidate. This is Port of Spain South. All right, and so therefore they would have a full slate. Well, you know what we said about the UNC. And then, of course, Anne has confirmed we're going to have Kenwin Jones. No, Kenwin Jones, I was a great fan of him as a footballer. He is going to be a member of Patriotic Front,
yes,
which is the Pandey's party.
Michaela Pandey.
Michaela and, Basti Pandey is their advisor and so on. So we're going to hear from him. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Ken, and good
Hi.
afternoon.
Good afternoon. Triple D?
Yes, sir.
What is going on? How is the weather there?
Great.
No, good.
Yeah, man. Say that to this one. I feel for a Spain, we can love and kill and win in the area. I feel that is instigated by the PNM. So they might call a state of emergency. And thank you.
But don't go yet. You there?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a sad murder in your community yesterday.
Yeah, down.
Yeah, in Sucha Trace. Yeah, man. The man.
Just after the river.
Yeah. Sucha Trace is a big vending area.
Just the Valentine today to confirm, make sure it's very
Yeah. They killed the man. Early 50s and so on. Yeah, it's very sad. And there are a number. Of course, and do that on public radio. Yes, well, we could only report the facts and nothing more. If there are protests in your area, or there were protests, we want to hear that story. Now, there was a protest at Corinth Road. There's a Corinth Hill. Those who know Corinth, San Fernando, it is a hilly area that links St. Madeleine with Cipero Road. And it really is, San Fernando, the topography of San Fernando is unlike any other part of the country, and where it rises from sea level to about 1,200 feet at San Fernando Hill. So this is one of the hilly areas, and from there you could get a wonderful view of San Fernando. The previous government had done the area, that link road, that is where the debris and thing were burned. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, the protest is between Pleasantville and St. Martin, down inside where the teachers' colleges, where the Keynes used to be.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I was saying. There's a link road because they set up a housing development area.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes, in that area, yes.
All right.
Yeah, okay, Chris. Thank you very much. 429, continue to call us. We want to talk to some of the activists in that community. In that community, also in Laventille, Morva. We want to talk to some of these people and hear their stories and what is behind all of this. I'd love to talk to that lady. And the lady said, when they asked her whether she is being funded and so on, and being backed by the politician, she said the only thing that is backing what we're doing is grief, and we're in grief over the loss of our loved ones. So I think she was quite outspoken in what she said. Let's take a break, and we come back. We take more further updates. Rampersad is the People's National Movement candidate for Couva South. We take a break and we come back.
Visit Eddie's Pharmacies Limited newest location inside JTA Supermarket. They offer blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol and pregnancy testing, as well as all pharmaceutical products and over-the-counter drugs, along with CDAP prescriptions. Sagicor Carry Care International Medical Card, Guardian Life Provider Card and Republic Bank points are all accepted at their 3 locations of Eddie's Pharmacy Limited.
Finish. Not forgetting 107 Bonaventure Road in Gasparillo. Just call Tiki Ali at 650-2180.
A&S Hardware are wholesalers and rebar, galvanized pipe, hollow section and steel. Customers can enjoy special prices on white pine and pitch pine doors.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors and roti makers. Try our high quality unbleached bromate free all-purpose and baker's flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds, 2 kg, 10 kg and 25 kg bags for 6 or visit us at Warrenville, Canupia. Shiklisha Limited. Quality you can trust.
For quality items, visit Super Quality Supermarket of Endeavour Road, Chaguanas, and Trin City Industrial Estate in Trin City, as well as Quality Cash and Carry Supermarket, Cuba Car Park, for all your grocery items, not forgetting their bed and bath section and kitchen appliances for your home. With so many items to choose from, take advantage of our great prices and discounts at any of our 3 locations: Trin City Industrial Estate in Trin City, Endeavour Road, Chaguanas, and Cuba. For quality items, Super Quality Supermarket.
It is back. Talk Your Talk is back. This is Mukesh Baburam inviting you to join me right here on U975 FM for the return of Talk Your Talk from 6 to 9 p.m. Enjoy your favorite segments and feel free to make your comments as we journey together. So join me, Mukesh Baburam.
U975 FM presents Unwind, a one-of-a-kind radio show to stimulate your mind. Unwind is content driven to address critical issues by stripping to the naked truth, separating the petals from the flower, peeling the skin from the fruit, and digging right down to the very root of the matter. It entertain and inspire. Don't miss it. Unwind is produced and hosted by yours truly, Sivadas Prasad, on Fridays from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on U975 FM, Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio.
God, nothing can feel good like this.
24 minutes to the hour 5 p.m. Continue to call us 636-7547-227-5739. Now, the Trinidad and Tobago Council of Evangelical Churches, that is the Board Against Churches, has issued a store capital city and environs. The daily threats of life and limb these men and women face cannot be underrated, as they are critical lifeline to maintaining law and order in our country, and so on and so on. They even talk about Martin Luther King and in this statement,
yes.
and so on, how Martin Luther King come into this, and so on and so forth. You know, I would wish that those who are, it's issued by Reverend Dr. Desmond Austin, president of this association. We come back and talk about that after this call. Good afternoon.
Evening, Mr. Kennedy.
Hi.
Afternoon.
The opposition leader statement in our newspapers.
It has social media. I don't think
social media.
On social. Yes.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome.
Hi.
Yes, hello. Yes, we are hearing you. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, plenty of them.
Hello, are you there?
Was because of that Gary Griffith outpost. Look at when he went to the Cuba.
Okay, you'll have to call us back. The quality of the call is not clear.
But we want to
Gary Griffith
yeah.
outbursts and people are upset about that.
Yeah. And if I hear that well, I agree with you. So I want to hear more of that conversation, because I feel so too. I feel the empowerment of national leaders have to
more
understand.
than he can chew.
Yeah, you see, national leaders have to understand times of change. This is not the era of Dr. Williams when not a damn dog bark and so on. The temperament of Dr. Rowley too. People have criticized him through the years. people don't like authoritarian leaders, maximum leaders anymore. They like somebody who comes across as compassionate and so on. And I think that was one of the appeal. Another thing I know, that was one of the appeal of Mrs. Prasad Bisesa and so on. And I've always said to people, I think that was genuine and that she really does care for people. But the authoritarian one-man kind of leadership of Gary Griffith is not working well. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, Mr. Kennedy, right. Let's go back now. Look how the Prime Minister behaved in the Parliament on Friday when he said about UNC nastiness. Imagine a man with a PhD couldn't coin that a better phrase of word, and he couldn't.
No, he could listen.
I mean, he talk like a fellow away on the road and never.
No, but listen, he is doing that deliberately, you know. He could coin better words, you know. He with his supporters, you know.
Yeah, because I mean, when I hear that man talking, I say, oh gosh, man, I mean, he could use some nice, pretty language and get the same effect, but not. I mean, a person of that level in the country saying what nasty in our parliament. Oh gosh, man, it was so sad and so unfortunate. And I don't know, after being in the Prime Minister chair for almost 5 years, I think people have criticized him before about the little coarse language. I mean, if you could examine, or if you listen to himself with the replays and hear the song. I mean, getting Jackie into the really was sad. They got it at this point. I mean, by now, I mean, after here for the most, a man of his experience, I mean, he doesn't politics this morning. He in politics, yeah, he came from down below and came up the ladder. At this stage, still using them kind of language. I mean,
all right, thank you. Thank you. It is not, it is not that he doesn't have command of language. If anybody has command of language, is Dr. Rowley. But he uses that language to connect with his grassroots supporters and to give them speaking notes. Good afternoon to you.
I'm glad you're saying that, Ken. Good afternoon, I'm
Afternoon.
glad to say speaking to his supporters.
Yeah,
Because
it's a dog whistle.
They understand that language.
That's right.
But the rest of people don't.
Yeah.
That's why we talk about it. But let them remain silent. I think it's in Tobago. I don't want to disrespect Anne. Well, you know what the words he was using about the lady. And the crowd, old women can be mother and grandmother.
Yes.
Saying that on.
Yeah.
I should tell you, he talk, as you say, he talked the language they could understand.
Yes, and they want him to use, yes.
Yeah. That is why Eric William, the Women's League, you know, I think it's Chocolingo, they give them a name.
Yes, yeah. Yes.
What I want to say is, Ken, in America, I don't know other countries, you know, they could sue the meteorological people for giving wrong information.
Listen, we should start with news in the night, you know. No, I say that in Jessa.
Them could tell people there will be a tropical wave coming there.
They should sue them.
Make my brother put off his casting.
Oh my God.
Sue the lady.
Have a tropical wave. The man put off his thing. That's extra money, you know.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's serious point.
I just know what you saying about Totaram.
Duki, yeah.
He was arrested or something?
He was arrested, yes.
That's not the man who arrested Marlene McDonald?
I don't know.
Yes,
I believe so, yes.
Investigation in the background.
It's pending investigation from 3 years.
Yes.
Have a nice day. A bomb will come out.
Yeah, the dots have been connected. A brief note on the weather. I try not to say much, but I don't know. What is it about weather? Listen, weather forecasting is a simple science because of the equipment they have. I forget how they call that.
All the radars and everything.
That gives you the photographic evidence, right? So how the weather forecasters could do it in Miami and New York and so on, we should be able to do it equally, but I don't understand why we always get it wrong. Good afternoon to you.
Yes, Mr. Tutaram Duque, man, he was in charge of the fraud squad for many years, and he has been doing a lot of good work, and I'm very surprised to hear of his situation, you know, and I have to hear more before I could say anything, because he was a very efficient man there at Richmond Street corner there. And he did a lot of work. He was very comprehensive in his performances. So I don't know what went wrong. But best wishes to him. I hope that he's not guilty of anything.
Investigations, and they were interrogating him, and that's the latest. We heard he was in the company of his attorneys, is what we hear. So we can't report anymore, but we would follow that. Of course, he's a very senior police officer, and that's all we could really say on that matter. As Forrest Gump said, 18 minutes to the hour of 5 p.m. Continue to call us 636-7547, 227-5739. We remind you we are also on youtube.com. 975 is our channel. Us in there, and you could post a comment. We are also on the internet through our internet page, and of course we are on your bandwidth, and we are on our official Facebook page. And send us messages. We get a lot of messages, and we are a little bit guilty of not acknowledging every one of them, but we look forward to that. Again, we say to the Canadians in our midst, a happy Canada Day. We know the celebrations are not public, but the weather is better in Canada these days, I imagine. All right. Oh yes, look. You know, this thing is animate me like nothing else in the world. You know. If you want to see me happy, you must start to talk about the weather forecast. You know.
Oh, the lady
I don't know if happy is the word, but if you want to get me animated, here what happened. Our partner is reminding me that the same lady named Sigoni Mohammed, that's her name, right? She recently got a United Nations award.
Yes.
Listen, there's no ordinary award for unbiased reporting. So in other words, here's what happened. When she goes on TV6, whoever she goes in the night,
TV6.
she doesn't give you a UNC report or EP report or Patriot. She gives you on. Well, listen, I really kind of bemused by this matter. You know. I want the United Nations to explain to us how many other people got this award. How do you give unbiased weather
reporting?
Weather reporting. I think she get an award for unbiased reporting.
Yes.
Right. Sigoni Mohammed is her name. We wish her the best. And let her know we just heckling, yeah. But we wish you making a good point here, you know, that somebody was going to do some concrete work. Casting, so that calls for good weather. Yeah, and then the weather turned out not to be so. A lot of people depend on weather forecasts
to do their business.
Yes, and fishermen in particular look for high tide. Farmers, we are two little islands, and so the weather impacts us quite a lot. It is 13 minutes to the hour of 5. We had until 6, and
I know you have a sweet eye for Sigoni, you know.
No. I just so confused over this unbiased reporting award she get, you know. One day she must explain that.
When you look at where the areas that this thing happened yesterday, you could have seen that it was a well orchestrated plan, because remember they just didn't hit one place on the BTM,
And I have no knowledge of the planning of this, but I think I feel, and somebody will challenge me on this, but I think there was a spontaneous thing where some people, but dispossessed and restless youths. So if you just take 100 of them, quickly head into town, that will multiply into 200 and 300 times.
Let me say this to you. I'm not going to call the name of the program, neither the person.
Right.
But it was almost broadcast daily about, I used to say about 2 months ago, that something the pot was boiling.
Okay.
And it wouldn't be, you know, the person it came from is not a guy to be taken literally, if you understand me. And it was throwing it at the Rastaman, Heinz.
Okay,
he was saying it to Heinz and Powell, like I speak, you know, that
but you remember
it wouldn't be water kicking on him. I am not condoning the incident, but what I would say is that, you know, it was well planned and coordinated, but bad portrayal, because they could have done it with a little more style and class than how they did it.
Okay. Well, one day you have to explain to us what they could have done. But thank you very much. You know who we have not heard in all of this is the Law Association. Well, we have not heard many, we haven't heard the trade unions, whatever became of the trade unions, heard other interest groups. But the Law Association, I thought they would have spoken out about police killing in particular. If not the protest, the police killing. What about the Law Association? Why some lawyers do force the association to have a meeting and to take a position on this? Take a position, and in that respect, I don't know quite sure what these people said, the evangelical.
Hello.
Ken, let me just tell you something, It is really and truly unfortunate the way in which this thing is unfolding. And I really and truly thought that the Commissioner of Police would have stepped forward and said, listen, and we have to go at it in order to ensure that we quell the public anger and we deal with this issue head on. I don't understand why is it there's a necessary to drag our feet on a matter as serious as this. And I am having a serious problem with the PCA director. You know, I like the days when Gillian Lucky was here. You felt confident that something was going to have a crusader. She would have come in front of the taking place, tell them what she's doing, tell them what is this. And, you know, you feel like something is happening. But I don't understand, maybe Mr. West is not that type of extrovert individual. Maybe, you know, but I don't understand why is it that they don't understand that this is a matter that is of priority. I don't understand. And I feel to myself that they need to get with the times. They should have been attending to this since Saturday evening when that tape came out. They waited until way down Tuesday when the rioting started. Look at what's happened now. A woman has children motherless.
Eric, I am finding myself in the very unaccustomed position of agreeing with you. This is about 2 straight days I agree with you.
Well, no, but seriously, you see, when persons in leadership position does not act, the public will have some form of
it is about leadership.
Confidence that they are in office and you can stand with them. You feel like nothing is happening. People must have the faith that office holders carry out their function with a certain amount of gravity. Makes you feel that you are living in a place that is worth living in.
And you know, Eric, this is essentially what the protesters and his close relatives of those 3 guys are asking for more than anything else, you know. That is essentially what they've been asking for. But the commissioner has been almost blasé about this and has gone to investigation and so on and so forth and so on. And that is where I think people have become very upset with the commissioner.
You know something? There's something that is missing here that people don't realize. I know that bandits are running around killing, robbing, and all sorts of things. And you need the police to deal with this matter and to deal with it in a strong manner. But again, you have to act within the ambit of the law, because if you don't act, what is going to happen? It's something that you could do anywhere, anyhow. And I made the point that what happened to those 3 men could have happened to any 3 men. And why? And these things cannot be just left to just wither. They must be treated with frontally. Because when they're walking down a road that is not a good road,
no, it's not.
Leaving room for anarchy.
And we have a history of police brutality in this country. You're right, Eric. I agree with you.
Have a nice evening, Ken.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, Eric. Good afternoon to you.
Mr. Ali.
Yes.
It's not just a woman got killed. She was pregnant, you know.
Yes, that's right.
So this is ridiculous. Because they call me and say, they should not check grass again on them. And they started running in the people's stores, and they said court started blocking their store, which means something is going to happen, and they're trying to not to let them lose their business. So something big is going to happen, Mr. Andy, and I'm really scared, you know. Are they trying to do like America? They burn on the whole country?
Well, we don't know. That again calls for more reason why there should be effective and immediately.
Nothing. They're going to start a stupidness. What is he saying? I mean, I don't know. I thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your call. And her voice expresses the frustration of a lot of us. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Karen and Anne.
Good afternoon.
You know, I listened to Abu Bakr. I listened to him on that radio interview. And I've also I've read some of his writings. And I've also watched him on old interviews. And he did study, he did meet Gaddafi, and is it Libya? Yeah. And he's a very smart man. He wasn't educated here he was educated here, but he's worldly educated. And when you listen to him tell you about the 80% and above of police brutality, you have to listen to this man. He's not stupid. And it's every man for himself,
Do you think, having said what you just said, do you think he is relevant to this? In other words,
absolutely.
He could stoke the fire. I think that way.
Terrified. They are terrified, and they're going to use terrorism. But the terrorism in the United States is homegrown terrorism, not like here. This is a trading ground for people to leave here horribly.
I suspect you mean horribly.
You know what he's doing? Propaganda.
Yes.
This is when you go down to blunt propaganda. Gary Griffith is all about propaganda. You see those young men in the police force? They're showing videos of each other, and they're showing the video of these police force looking at a video, not taking care of themselves and taking care of the country and what's happening around them. They're watching a video on the phone. Can I tell you something, eh? This guy went all over the world and trained in military, this and military that. For a police commissioner to have his family live in a first world country, protected, I tell you something, eh? And that's how you get the world to watch you when you burn the building down, because
Okay.
Rome did burn down.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Mr. Ali,
Sir.
and Ms. Duque Belmont here again.
Yes, very quickly.
I call to endorse. This is what makes your show so great. That Eric could come forward since yesterday and give a very honest and fair account of the situation. And I would like to see Mr. Griffith and Mr. Young take a page out of his book and understand that what Eric said is very, very good. And I for honest reporting on the radio.
Yes.
Keep it up, Eric. I
Yes.
hope to hear you in the future. Very, very good.
Thank you very much. And you see, Eric's view confirms this is not a politically partisan position, and I really commend Eric for that. We are going to top of the calls are lighting up. Good afternoon to you.
Hi, good afternoon, Ken.
Good afternoon.
In all the doom and gloom, 3 chairs for Eric, man. The NA is a trend, I like all of you.
Absolutely.
And when you see something, you say it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we the country, we have a motto, we Trinidad, to me, the greatest country, Trinidad. Eric, thanks for waking up and smelling the coffee and talking the truth, Eric.
And thanks to you. We're heading to top of the hour. We have 2 distinguished gentlemen in our company. Now, I want to say, we've been talking about Bill Bratton. And, Bill saying has inspired him. But you know what I'm seeing here? Bill Bratton has suspended officers on various things. And I'll tell you about some just now. Good afternoon to you.
Good day. Gary Griffith needs to go and get his blimp. You remember the blimp?
Uh-huh.
He needs to go and get that. That's the only thing that can help you right now, because they are failed.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Gary Griffith under pressure.
Very quick. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What is the name?
Tall man riding with Randall Scott.
No, give me again.
The thing is, Gary Griffith is a short man.
What's the name of the Western?
Tall man riding. If you want to hear gun
Tall
talk,
man riding.
Tall man riding.
Okay.
With Randall Scott.
Oh,
That's how the most gun talk ever hear in Western.
Really? Okay. I have to look for that.
I'll have to research that.
Thank you very much. We're heading to close
Top of
to
the hour now.
Now,
Make plenty gun talk.
PD officers, after they handcuffed a man on suspicion of shoplifting. Right? Here's one. I have to give the details another time. We don't have. He suspended an officer who he bad-mouthed the mayor de Blasio. He suspended the man for that. You understand? And I'm trying to tell you that is Gary Griffith's idol, his icon. And look, Bill Bratton didn't become the successful police commissioner in New York by being idle. He was effective, and I think. Listen, as we head to the top of the hour, Gary Griffith, you're on the wrong side of this issue. The gun talk is not working on this issue, and I think people have galvanized on to the wise. It is at the top of the hour. We're going to take a break, and then we come back with 2 most distinguished gentlemen, one of whom with us each Wednesday afternoon, another one distinguished gentleman. We're going to talk business, we're going to talk about economics, and so on and so forth, and we want your calls. We just before we take the break, just to remind you again, tomorrow at 4 p.m. and just after 4 p.m. we have an NIS expert
to answer all your questions.
Yeah, so line up your questions, and he is going to answer every single one of them. We take the break and we come back.
Time has come. New 97.5.
U97.5 FM, Hot Like Pepper, Multicultural Radio.
Power to the listeners.
A&S Hardware and General Contractors Limited of 107 Bonaventure Road in Gasparillo for all your hardware materials from foundation to finish. Not forgetting all your general contracting needs. We have it all at General Contractors Limited, located at 107 Bonaventure Road in Gasparillo. Just call 650-2180.
C&S Hardware are wholesalers and retailers of plywood, an assortment of lumber, galvanized pipe, hollow section, and steel. Customers can enjoy special prices on white pine and pitch pine doors.
Visit Eddie's Pharmacies Limited newest location inside JTA Supermarket, C3 Center, Current Village, San Fernando. They offer blood pressure and pregnancy testing, as well as all pharmaceutical products and over-the-counter drugs, along with CDAP prescriptions. Sagicor Caricare International Medical Card, Guardian Life Provider Card, and Republic Bank points are all accepted at their 3 locations of Eddie's Pharmacy Limited. RS Building, Rocha Douglas Road, Barrackpore, GN Building in Pinal, and C3 Center, Current Village, San Fernando.
Attention all bakers, doubles vendors and roti makers. Try our high quality unbleached bromate free all purpose and baker's flour. Low price and conveniently packaged in 2 pounds.
For quality items, visit Super Quality Supermarket of Endeavour Road, Chaguanas, and Trin City Industrial Estate in Trin City, as well as Quality Cash and Carry Supermarket, Cuba Car Park, for all your grocery items, liquor, fresh fruits, and vegetables, not forgetting their bed and bath section for your home. With so many items to choose from, take advantage of our great prices and discounts at any of our 3 locations: Trin City Industrial Estate, Endeavour Road, Chaguanas, and Cuba. For quality items, Super Quality Supermarket and Quality Cash and Carry Supermarket.
Grand Diamond Hotel invites you to dine in our newest and exquisite grand opening Chai Thai restaurant situated at LP 12 Golden Grove Road, Piaku. Come and enjoy our authentic Thai and Indian cuisine, and our outdoor terrace would be available from the 22nd of June. Weekend outdoor and rooftop restaurant dining. All meats halal. For reservations, call 331-501-1093. Our email address, chaithai19@gmail.com. Opening hours 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily. Takeaway and delivery services are available 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and excellent services.
Kelton Puran Manufacturers Limited of 44 Bay Road, Bamboo Village, La Romaine. Manufacturers, wholesalers, and importers of wheelbarrows, ridging, roof bolts, hold-down bolts, nipples, washers, hinges, sag rods, face basin, brackets, shovels, spades, door frames, etc. Telephone them on 65116-657-4952. Email us at keltonpuran.mltd@yahoo.com.
The issues of the day, the newsmakers, the best analysis, your views. Join U975 Multicultural Radio from Monday to Thursdays for the best discussions on the issues that matter to you. Journalists Ken Ali and Ann Dukey talk to top personalities, give you breaking news, and provide quality commentary. Be in the audience from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mondays to Thursdays for talk that matters. Only on U975 Hot Like Pepper Multicultural Radio.
507. Here is the we know the organization called DOMA saying something that we have been saying for the past 2 days, and I just want to quote from it quite briefly. DOMA is saying, Gregory Aboud, the weakness of the country for the level of social unrest seen in Port-au-Spain in the past few days, right? Institutions like the Director of Public Prosecutions and Police Complaints Authority, all right, need to be given more independence and power to carry out their duties without possible interference. Without this strengthening, public confidence in justice will remain undermined. That is Gregory Aboud speaking. There are too many unresolved cases, too many unsolved murders, too many episodes in which we are promised full investigations under which no result comes about except for repulse. We have to guarantee everyone, regardless of where they are stationed in life, we have to guarantee to everyone that they will be treated fairly and so on. Same point we have been making. So I feel Doma may have listened a little bit to us. Okay, we commend Doma on that. Let's get to some other matters. This is the time of the week when we talk business, economics, how we stir the economy back into activity, how we make make things happen in this country. Our regular guest is part of us, is Ved Seeram, and Ved is with us. Good afternoon, Ved.
Hi, good afternoon.
I know where you are. You're not bothered by the protest at all. You must have been watching it on TV and so on. Now, along with Ved, we have another distinguished gentleman. A point Ved makes every week is the need to stir business activity in the country. That is the way we could go forward. Now, this gentleman with successful business, a long track record. In fact, it will take me a long time to tell you about all his many, many successes. But he is involved in LABIDCO, which is the Port Development Service in La Brea. And it's a new project he is bringing on board. His name is Hussain.
Thank you, sir. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. You have a long track record. Another time we'll talk about your contribution to the country and to the Caribbean through many, many years in various other activities. But Ved, you are also familiar with his activities. I want you to give us an overview of what it means and the implications of Trinidad and Tobago development.
Thank you, Ken. As I've been saying, preaching for the last few years, that we need sustainable development in Trinidad and Tobago. One of the very, very few projects that fits the bill. Unlike building roads going to nowhere, unlike putting up houses for the unemployed, unlike putting up some sort of investments that are very questionable with regards to the oil and gas industry, this project has a tremendous benefit to Trinidad and Tobago in the immediate, medium and long term. It's really development, just not a port that could ultimately be the number one port in Trinidad and Tobago, but there are very good reasons for place. Apart from the natural deep water, there's room for expansion. And looking forward, apart from the COVID-19, which has really dampened business activity, we have to make an assumption that growth will resume sometime in the near future. And what we are looking at here is the expansion of port facilities in Trinidad and Tobago to take care of growth going into the distant future. The cost for developing this port is far less than spending money in Port of Spain and Point Lisas. So there are significant advantages of building the port in this area. And in addition to that, they'll be bringing in new kind of activity, is that we are close to South America, where the waters are fairly shallow and there are no deep water ports. This will provide an avenue to serve South America as well, quite apart from transit. So it is a project that will bring significant value to Trinidad and Tobago in terms of generating jobs, sustainable jobs. Secondly, in terms of bringing in new sources of hard currency, that's revenues. So I think overall, Mr. Gosain has been considerable time because he believed in it, and having looked at it as well, I'm very happy that a project of this nature is being contemplated at this time.
Right. So, Mr. Gosain, pick up the discussions from there and give us some timelines and turnaround of the project.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ali. Let me give a little historical perspective. An additional port in Trinidad has been supported by the last 4 prior governments. During the tenure of Mr. Ken Valley, when he was Minister of Trade, he was the first who had supported us in a vision of port in Trinidad, especially in the southwestern peninsula. The conventional wisdom has always been a port in Chagrin. Quite a number of studies have been done. Port in Point Lisa, $1 billion to grow a port there, port in Port of Spain, Dito, but the land and ports are way too valuable for other commercial development. The last 4 successive governments have had IPOs and expression of interest requests to build a port. We have been advocating a port, and IDB, the World Bank, now has got on board. The Interdevelopment Bank in 2014 recommended this port. Worley Parsons, a world brand name of engineers from Australia and Houston, consultant John Martin Associates have also recommended this. Why a port in La Brea? We need a port. It's sad to say, and my observation is that we have been building a lot of things And if we look at some of the political manifesto coming out of Trinidad recently, is how we can spend on that side of the equation. I'm seeing nothing on the equation side. Where do we become addicted to foreign import? If you go down to Massey store, you see lettuce, Trinidad lettuce next to California lettuce. We need foreign reserve to pay those bills. So what I'm saying is this, and we have seen the multiply effect. The port we are talking about, which is supported by ID studies we have done, essentially it will be, let me throw some numbers out, it'll be a lot of numbers, but according to the IDB, Trinidad by 2025 will need a 1.1 million TEU capacity. A TEU is a 20-foot container. Right now, our capacity in Trinidad is 677,000. So we have a shortfall of 800,000. Nobody's thinking about that. Right now, Point Lisa's done about 162,000, and Port of Spain done about 377,000. So right now, the demand will be 800,000. The port we have designed and are designing had a capacity of 1.2 million, which will take us to the 2050 port. Secondly, we have largest LNG plant in Point Fontaine. As of January 1st, 2020, IMO, International Marine Organization, has stipulated your pollution in the air to be no more than 1/2 of 1% in sulfur. We have the LNG within 10 nautical miles away from this port. Why aren't we bunkering with LNG? Right now, we are selling LNG at less than $2 a million BTU, when the international market is selling LNG for bunker fuel around $8 to $9 a million BTU. So what I'm saying immediately, our government can go right to and sell off 15% at the bunker fuel and make energy more sustainable with regard to the environment. Thirdly, we are right on the doorstep of Venezuela, Brazil, Guyana, and Suriname. All 4 countries have a major need right now for transshipment of the iron ore, aluminum ore, bauxite, and what have you. We can become a transshipment for those products. But more important, let's look at Trinidad, for example. We need raw material to grow our industry. We don't have the raw material. It's only when we can bring raw material into Trinidad, we can develop downstream industries which are sustainable and will have a longevity to it. Now, if you want to do oil blending, if you want to do industrial oil, if you want to even simple as manufacture dog food, you cannot, because in Trinidad, Flour Mill, the guys in Point Lisa from Suriname, and the guys in Barrackpore, who are the silo there. We cannot. What I'm saying, we will develop downstream industries. We go to Margarita to shop for clothing. Why aren't we supplying foodstuff America? Now, our industry, we got to develop synergy of industry. What I mean by synergy of industry, Point Lisas had synergy of industry. That's why they grow, meaning if you start putting hydrocarbon byproduct, you should have other supporting industries. We must grow into industrial estates simultaneously. That'll create a lot of jobs. A port of this type will require about 150 trucks to service it. You may talk about 800,000. A truck takes it in, a truck bring out the empty or bring the product. So we will need another 150 trucks. 150 trucks need 150 drivers, need lorry men, need roti in the morning, need bacon shack, need repair shop, need tire shop, and all that comes with growth.
All right. What is your time frame for delivery of the project? Who is financing it, and what is the cost of this project?
Jack, so far we have been asking the government for
we meaning?
Our group of investors, our company.
Okay.
We have been trying to get the government, NEC, NGC into buying. There have been some development with NEC recently. The port is now owned by NGC, which is NEC, from what we see in the website, is out of the port. So right now the port is owned by, the estate is owned by NGC, Petrotrail Development. We have been looking for buying from the government to support the project. We have investors right now. We have a bulk company. We have a company interested in handling the container port. But all these are large-scale projects. You need government buying. We are not asking, and that's one thing I should mention. We have been hearing a lot about port to be built in La Brea by various companies, and they're talking about taxpayer underwriting $600 million. This idea we call the Peachtree Arrangement is the new terminology of public-private partnership.
Yes.
So we are looking for partners from the government to partner because the estate is owned by the government.
Okay, let's begin to take some calls for our distinguished gentlemen. Good afternoon to you.
Hi, Ken, and it's good to hear these speakers. Yeah, I'm confused by what you were saying. You know, you're talking about all these investors. Don't think the government will invest with you, because who are the countries you're dealing with? Who are the stakeholders in this port that you intend to build? And you're talking about all these industrial companies coming forward, but they're hurting the environment, because if you look at our country and village and constituency, we have many of the shops and many of the entities we speak about. We don't need to create more. We have them already here, but they're underutilized. Can you address that?
Okay, let's.
Other development around the port. We cannot address other surpluses in industry in Trinidad, but a port, we need to bring food in, madam. We need to take our manufactured goods out. Port, historically, there's no country in the world all through the history has ever been great without a great seaport and way to do commerce. We have seen China and all these countries. The only way you can get your manufactured goods out of your country is through a port, and bringing raw material is through a port.
Before you go on, I want to get into, you were talking about getting the NEC buy-in, and you're giving us a status report on that. Where is that at?
Right now, we don't have a commitment on that, be it from NEC or anybody else. We have made proposals over the years.
And that is important for
That's
you?
very important. Mind you, it does not have to be NEC. We can, for example, Petrotrin and the other companies. Essentially, in a Peachtree arrangement, amount of equity into the project. Right now, I think we should be referring to NGC and not NEC as much, because NEC is the principal owner of the estate with Petrotrin.
But what is the equity you want from this state? The land, is it financing? Is it all of that?
The land is there. The Labitco estate is 409 acres, and we have lease of some of the waterfront property already. So the land is available there right now. Having the government, a number of years ago, we had finance. Essentially, what we are asking is that the government support for the project because of the financial benefit it will have to the country.
Okay, let's hear this caller. Hello, good afternoon and welcome.
I'm sitting transfixed listening to your guest, and I'm trying to figure out something. He has a marvelous plan, but I'm trying to find out, has he worked out granular detail as to where his customer traffic is coming from and where it's going to? And if his details are so specific, what stops the state from grabbing what he has to offer? That about 2 years ago, this present government announced an arrangement with the Chinese to establish a dry dock company, right, where they're going to be servicing ships and put them back out to sea. And I wonder if it impacts on that project in any way, in what the state have already decided to have a marriage with the Chinese company and getting that on board. But if it is that you're asking for investment in the state, there may be a problem.
All very good observations and questions, Eric. I agree with you. Address the last point first, because there has been a project that has been discussed. That's another project, right?
Let me explain. A number of years ago, Ministry of Trade promoted a project with China Harbor to be built in the Rosilac Swamp. That approval, and it was shelved. Recently, NIDCO, in partnership with China Harbor, also proposed a project in La Brea. That project is only 2 graving dock for effect, and that will be very limited, as opposed to what we are doing.
Okay. Now, our caller raised the question, but and I also went there. I wanted to dig into it. What exactly you are government?
We are not asking for financial investment. Essentially, when you go to monetary fund or the banking institution, they will first ask you, do you have a government buy-in? We have letters from the Minister of Works, Mr. Hines, supporting the project 100%.
Any government?
No, absolutely.
You want
no
no government guarantee.
Absolutely. No.
Before you continue, I just want to open our lines, remind our listeners, 636-7547-227-5739. Mr. Dave Gosain is discussing the project at Labidco that is being proposed. It is a private sector project. We have Ved Searam also. Yes, continue.
Ken, could I?
Yes,
Dave,
sure.
Could I just?
Yes.
I think this port could accommodate the large post-Panamax ship.
Yes, sir.
Right, that's very important. Secondly, as a result of that, I think handling costs you're going to save per container $250
Yes,
US.
that's correct.
So those are two very important points. And you already got EMA's outline approval, or to some extent.
The site has EMA approval for capital dredging and maintenance dredging.
Okay, so you've crossed a major hurdle there.
Yeah,
that's a significant.
The site has EMA approval for capital and maintenance dredging.
You know, I'm hearing you speaking, and I'm thinking this is almost equated with the vision the South Chamber had for Point Lisas. Remember that? Point Lisas is a dream of the South Chamber, you know, Bobby Montano. So this may be a similar idea in terms of scope, and in terms of relevance, and in terms of attracting business, because the Point Lisas project was mooted on the strength of the port, the Plibdeco port. Go ahead.
Let me just add to that.
Yes.
Bobby Montano saga to that. As a matter of fact, if anybody ever visit NEC office in Point Lisas, Bobby Montano picked it there because he were the pioneers of Point de la Brea. And the reason why I don't want cargo in San Fernando had to be lighted in Port of Spain and brought down by trucks.
Yeah.
And they said if we then can develop a piece of land with all the swamp and cane field we had, it can add to the mix, and the rest is history.
You're absolutely right. And Bobby Montano deserves our enduring respect for that.
For the vision.
The vision. Unfortunately, look what has happened to Point Lisas, but that's another story. Come back to your story.
That's the story. Let me add that.
Let's take this call first. Just hold a second. Good afternoon and welcome.
Thank you, Anne. I want to ask him a question because I like your idea and I like your argument. I really do, because I think we need it. But I want to ask you something. See, your corporation that you're starting, this port that you want to build in Chaguaramas, right?
No, La Brea.
No, La Brea.
Oh, in La Brea.
Yes.
All right. You want to build it, and you stop. Let me tell you something.
Problem right there.
You know Mr. McConnell from Kentucky, and his wife is Chinese. Her parents are from China, and they got the biggest transportation company in the United States history. So let me tell you something. You don't have to be connected that way. But you are a private entity, and you want to now create this port where we could bring our resources. Now, what do you think this port can handle? What can we do? Are we going to be a ship repair, or are we going to have trade and have our products from Namdelfco delivered to the port, and we are up to standards, and we could ship our stuff abroad? Because let me tell you something, the red tape in this country for agriculture is phenomenal. It is like a nightmare. These standards, and they refuse to trade with us on agriculture because they're buying from other countries that are more powerful, and they're crushing us, and we have weak negotiators at the table who bowing down all the time.
Let's hear Mr. Gosain respond.
Listen off here.
Let me just make a quick comment on agriculture, since you brought up. I've spent much time in looking at the tariff and what our agricultural products are twofold. One, based on economics of scale. If we are exporting pumpkin, for example, to New York, if we can't send 4 containers, we can't get a wholesaler in New York at the Bronx Terminal Market to buy from us. That's one thing. And secondly, it has to do with education. And I'm not here to put a slap on anybody, but I think people within our trade ministry must advise our exporters and farmers how to prepare. There's one very, very sad story I can talk about. There's a fellow exported 15,000 pounds of pumpkin. And when the pumpkin arrived in New York, the agriculture officer saw some kind of fly or flea or whatever it may be walking it, and that broke. All the air freight, pumpkin, everything went, and he had to pay to dispose of the product.
Oh, gosh.
So when I talk about education, educate the exporter, educate the importer. Let's go back to what we will be exporting. Madam, we will be exporting and bringing in general commodity. All the containers coming in Point Lisa, the Port of Spain. Port of Spain property is way too valuable and the cost, as Mr. So every time we can save $250, as mentioned by Mr. Siram, you're talking 6 to the 12, you're talking $1,600 or $1,700 per container. That's only on the cost. So we start adding up, and we start a penny here, a penny there, we start talking. So look at the other side of it, and Mr. Ali alluded to that earlier on, job creation. If we want to manufacture, and I look at the analogy of South Korea, I look at Japan after the Second World War. Japan realized after the Second World War they don't have the raw material to and took the manufactured goods out. This is what we are talking about, jobs. We are very limited in the natural resources. God has given us many natural resources, but one God has been very generous with, and that's our location.
Yes, let's take this call. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ken. I want to ask you just a question. He's talking about low cost in that port, and of course talking about Port of Spain and the very high cost of doing business in Port of Spain. My question: compete with Port of Spain, and when that happens, low cost in another port, what's going to happen with port? What happens to the employment opportunities of people there? What's going to happen to the economy in the end? Thank you.
How would it affect the other ports?
Absolutely not compete with Port of Spain, and let me explain why. From the IDB study, that by 2025 we'll need 1.1 million TEU capacity. Port of Spain is 377,000, Point Lisa is 162,000. We have a shortfall of 800,000 container capacity. Surrounding countries port to bring our goods in lightering vessels. So as a natural progression for our own internal growth, we need the port to bring in raw material, to bring in manufactured goods, and to export manufactured goods. So I want to reaffirm again that we are not here to compete with Port of Spain, because Port of Spain has great advantages. However, the southwestern peninsula has the land and an area which will encourage other growth. As we talk of that, I just want to throw one out. We have a country which is called Guyana. Guyana does not have a port. Right now, we doing a lot of work in La Brea to support the Guyana energy industry. Not realize how close we are to Venezuela. We are at parts of Venezuela. We only are 25 nautical miles to Venezuela. To Guria, La Brea is only 49 nautical miles. We can become the service center for those parts. We know Venezuela had their problem, but that problem will not last in perpetuality. It's a matter of time. And
just let's hear another caller. Good afternoon.
You know something? I want to ask you another question, Ken. You guys are very bright. You're very intelligent. I like listening to you, sir. I think you should go public funding. I think you should go public, and I think you should be on our Trinidad Stock Exchange. And guess what? We have many people who think like you and will invest in your company. Because you are right about Guyana, and the Panama Canal just got expanded, isn't it? And we are going to see a lot of cargo in the whole pyramid. Okay, go ahead.
Let's get his thoughts. Would you go on the stock exchange?
I'm glad you brought that subject up, or going public, madam. The blessings of our country should be shared. That's the model for PLIPDECO. When PLIPDECO was conceived by the Southern Chamber of Commerce.
Hold the thought again.
A bit. Welcome.
Thanks again. The gentleman said not competing with Port of Spain Port. The question is, you're not competing with them, but if your cost is so much lower, definitely businesses will deal with you and bypass Port of Spain.
You'll attract business. Yeah, okay, let's get this take. Okay, you have a lot to respond to.
Let me talk about the going public-private partnership. The model which was perfected back in the 70s, with government just took equity, I think it was 49%, and they spun out 51% in private domain. And that 51% had provided money to a lot of investors in business, and also the government has, their share has multiplied many years, and today it's held by one of the state agencies. So you are so right. That's one of the things we have been examining with our financial people, that why not give the public a part equity into it? And all I'm saying is that that is one of the ideas in the card right now. How do we bring the man on the street to be a part equity owner into it? Giving equity to be about...
competing with
Port of
the
Spain.
other
Okay.
ports, yes.
Yes, let me explain to you about Port of Spain. That's a very... I'm glad you brought that question up. And let's look at the numbers. So, a two-bedroom apartment in Bayshore is selling from $3 to $5 million. What would a two-bedroom sell for on Dock Road in the back of the Hyatt Hotel? Our transfer tax is 7.5%. Now, if I look at the transfer tax, and this is where like people like say Ram would crunch the numbers and come up with. If I take an apartment $5 million or $3 million and 7.5%, and we line at my risky comment I'm going to make here. When I come in at night from Houston at that 8:30 United flight, I see a row of buildings from TTMA roundabout all to the Bayshore, 45-story building like what you have in Bombay, lining the waterfront. So that property is way too expensive to move trucks and cargo. We have to build a new Port of Spain, sir. We have the French Port of Spain, we have the British Port of Spain by the Savannah. Where are we going to build a new Port of Spain? That piece of land from TTMA office by the roundabout all the way up to Bayshore, that is the new commercial hub. And I'm saying the revenue generated from that property right now is underutilized. That property is being underutilized immensely. That probably should be. Think about what we are talking about. If I get a 145-story building there, look at what was going on at Movitown land. There was like rushing to get the land there. All kinds of offers are coming
So you're
from all
saying
around the world.
leave the capital city for real estate development, commercial development, and so on, and do port development elsewhere.
Elsewhere, that's revenue generating elsewhere.
Yes.
We cannot keep everything in place.
That's how
That
you build
land
a
is
city.
way too important. Let's go back to Canary Wharf in London. Let's go to Battery City in New York, and let's go to Narita Airport in Japan.
That all exotic, but let's take this call first. So we do that. Good afternoon to
I
you.
want to ask, because he's very bluntly honest and he's well traveled, I could tell. What do you think about this $500 million park investment in Chaguaramas' plastic microparticle water park that we live on an island on? What do you think about that investment? Thank you.
I don't, I may know that for 45 years around the world, and I don't like to talk about other people's investment. But if I make a simple observation to you, madam, when last were you in that area? If you haven't been there, I would like you to take a ride out there. I was there a month ago. And what has happened? They are choking out industry. What was done there, one lane was reserved for running and bicycle. And now we have Port Operation La Brea providing energy services to the oil and gas industry. And right now, I am saying to you today that oil and gas in Chaguaramas will have to ship La Brea. Why? A pipe truck will take 4 to 5 hours to get there. Why? Because of that two water park. And that two water park is a blessing for La Brea. Because the traffic will be horrendous to get to La Brea. So I am not here to quantify the investment of Mr. Aboud and his associates in the water park. But I want to say one thing. Companies don't vote. People vote. And Trinidad politicians would realize you got to win the vote of the people. So what I'm in essence, companies will suffer in Chaguaramas in a matter of time. Because when you can't get in there to do what's can't come into your office, when the trucks can't come in, and it is a hazard right now for a 55-foot truck going into Chaguaramas. I behind one of those trucks sometime. The back wheels of those trailer trucks ride the sidewalk. And it's an accident waiting to happen. So what I'm here to tell you that we want the development, we want R&R, there's a lot of people in Port of Spain have nothing to do, the children need something to do, and I empathize with them. people in the community have to start picking where do we want to take industry.
Let's take
I'm calling again. I have to ask him another question.
briefly. Time is running out.
Okay, let me ask you something, right? You know, I met some professors from the University of London. They came here to do a workshop and teach some law classes. And you know what they were talking about in this workshop? And hundreds of students were there. They were talking about the traffic and weight.
The highway to Point Fortin is going to support this project significantly. Secondly, it's going to open up the South Peninsula. And with regards to traffic, we have to diversify this economy and move away a lot of the activities from high density areas. And this particular project is going to attract several industries, and by that attraction it's going to bring a lot of citizens to. So the whole idea of traffic management must be, we must determine how best to place our areas of activities. How do we restructure this economy so that all of us are not going into Port of Spain to work?
So that deals with that issue. There's a term they use.
If I may jump in on that subject.
Yes.
What Ms. Hiram just mentioned is a benefit everyone who goes to work in Port of Spain in the morning. The reason, because when those trucks, we reduce the space. When you talk about 200,000 or 300 or 400,000 containers, you're really talking twice the number of trips. A truck has to take a container, empty in, bring a full one. So you're talking about, when Port of Spain is doing 400,000 containers, you're talking 800,000 trips. So what I'm saying, by shifting the traffic pattern, and any good highway traffic study person would tell you, you will have to refocus your traffic from going. Right now, we got a certificate, we got to Port of Spain. We got a copy of Landy, we got to Port. We got to move a container, we got to Port. We have to start diversifying our economy. But what I'm asking for in whoever comes to power, that we start looking at industries along our highways. Our highways cannot be littered with 2-bedroom matchboxes called small houses. We got to take our industries along the major highways.
So it's called for new spatial planning. Let's come back to the port and the issues relevant to that, because we have, of course, limited time. And the other key points about that you want to stress, Vera has spoken about the value of the highway, because that, of course, makes commuting easier. That and the other relevant points.
A part of it is finished, and the highway will run right into the port. Right into the port. It comes off come past the power plant and come right. So we have a spur, and I'd say by probably another 6 months or so, that road will be open. Really would not be going in local traffic. And I want to mention that since it came up. The port being proposed in the Rosilac Swamp and in the La Brea behind the playing ground will have to go in local streets. This port the traffic on this port will go from highway right into the port, and it will do what our founding Prime Minister, a large industrial estate in La Brea. You know what's the good thing about it? La Brea has another 3,000 acres in Sobo area, Captive area, which can be developed. So we can grow industry. One area we have asked our consultant to look into is bringing in cars to Trinidad. We may not realize, but cars are a big part of the traffic, and it's very lucrative for shippers. If you notice, all your cars from coming to Port of Spain, but they end up warehousing in Chaguanas and Freeport. Why? There's no place in Port of Spain. Whatever is very high cost. La Brea has the land. We have 1,000 acres of land looking for utilization right now. So it will be a synergy of industry. We're also growing secondary industry.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, and satellite industries and creating downstream activities. Yep. Now, we have limited time with these two gentlemen. We are 30 minutes to the hour of 6 comes in at 6 p.m. just after the 6 p.m. newscast. We had 636-7547-227-5739. Dave Gosine and Ved Siram. Right.
Mr. Ali, I just want to remind our listeners that for additional information, we have loads and loads of information that we'd love to send out to you. I'll ask you to call our office, 651-1100. 651-1100, and we love to send you the IDB study. We love to send you the consultants report. We love to send you the World Bank report, and you will know as much as I know about this whole project.
How many years have you invested in this project in terms of time and mental energy and so on?
So I've been an engineer now since 1972 all around. I worked in 19 countries on capital projects. And I'm a place I was born, I have come back and have to be and take a number and wait as a second-class citizen. No reflection on anybody. Dave Gosine has been a value-added person around the world in oil and gas industry. From Russia to Siberia to Iran to Iraq to Brazil, I have been there. And come back home, I only have money to show that a local boy can come and build a damn project like this without foreign, because the engineering's problem. I said, what do you mean, boy? He said, oh, don't give a blind man a looking glass. He said, a guy blind, what you telling him all these lofty ideas? So sometimes it's not the proponent, it's the person who you're pitching it to. Go back to your question. So when Mr. Valley was Minister of Trade, could be about before 2005, or 12 to 15 years. I'm a crusader on this project. I'm not just a proponent. I'm just because I think the port is good for Trinidad.
And you,
and we have put our one important. I left it, and I put 56 years of sweat and equity, my wife and mine, on this project. So what I'm saying, I'm a believer in what we are doing. I'm not looking for handout from government, no banks, no anybody.
I want to tie this in a little bit with the Mitsubishi project that is due to come in, and how you would bring value to that project.
Okay. I don't know why you asked that question. You may not get a very favorable answer. The Mitsubishi project was ill-conceived, ill-implemented, and I'm here to tell you, sir, we never start production, period, end of story. And I'll tell you why. Sunshine newspaper had been ringing that bell for some time and nobody paying attention. Let me tell you the reason why. You may end up having to pay $1 billion to Mitsubishi for non-performance. The matter is in court right now.
So that's another WGTL.
Let me explain to you. NEC went to a company called Technical in Italy to do a feasibility study of developing the port in Le. Page 137 and 139 of the 185-page report, and I'll send that report to you, tells you that when you are shipping methanol, exclusionary zone of 100 meters, and when you're shipping DME, there's an exclusionary zone of 150 meters. The volatility of DME is the same as LNG, which means once they start shipping methanol on DME, TUFCO has to shut down.
Okay.
And I make that statement.
We have limited time, so I want to come back to your project. You identified quite a lot, and I want to confirm to all listeners there's a lot of material here. If you have interest, you make that call of 651-1100 and you get some. So I just want, as we come into an end, for you to summarize again the benefits, the economic and the social benefits of Trinidad and Tobago.
So we need a port in Trinidad to grow our industries. We must add to what we have here right now. The benefits, let's take them 1, 2, 3. 1, we need a container port, we need transshipment. We got 350 million people on northeast parts of Latin America, which will benefit from this port also. We need to and monetize that product and get the most for our dollar. We need to develop a process where we can support the other islands around Trinidad. And if you look at this study from the Panama Canal, 24% of all the freight coming through Panama Canal goes to Europe. 10 to 12% stay around the CARICOM area. Another 12 to 15% go on to Latin America. If we can become the transshipment, if you look at the map, Mr. Ali, I began alluding to this earlier to us in our geographic location. What are we doing with it and what are we benefiting? Or we say bye-bye to the ships that go by, any to benefit commercially.
We're getting a number of positive responses. One of our listeners, Shobi Jaslan, says, what a refreshing idea. visionary, well needed, great location, and that is symbolic of the responses we're getting, and it's telling us we need to begin to wrap. You've outlined the value and the virtues of this project. I want to again, I think we should end by asking you about what you see as a timeline for turnaround. If you were to get approvals, the requisite approvals, how soon before we could see a finished product?
It's for bulk. We think that we could put a shovel in the ground 9 to 10 months from today. And the first cargo can move within 18 months, bulk, by building the jetty for the bulk. And the good thing about that, Mr. Ali, let me say something. We have been sweetening the pie to NGC, NEC, is that we bought $40 million in piling for the Indian port for the steel mill in Point Lisas, which has never been utilized. We are NEC or whoever else owned that pipe and other piling. Trade that into the project. Use that equity. It's now surplus. So what I'm saying, we can start the first vessel coming in maybe within 2 years from today.
And you're saying that your major hurdle at this point is government approvals?
And buying. We must have buying when you go to international financing people. Wade, you know much about that. If you don't have buying support,
Indeed.
banks don't lend you.
Yeah. But have you've shown me during the course of the discussions, a letter from the then, have you received any other expressions of support from the government, or have you requested in the first place in succeeding months?
Okay. There was and I'll tell you what I mean by that. During when Mr. Tawari was the Minister of Planning, NEC, that they lacked the authorization to proceed.
Okay.
Because they need central government of buying. And this is a copy of the letter which they gave to us.
So I imagine we are in an election season, so, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Is it that you would wait until after the election to make a fresh pitch to whichever is the government?
We can the project can stand its own 2 feet and does not need a prop.
Right.
Economically, it stands on its own 2 feet. The World Bank, in a conference we had on Monday at 9 o'clock, and in their report, the project stands on its own 2 feet from World Bank. So what I'm saying, economically, viability, yes. So the project has and is economically viable. I think right now we need people who have the will to do. Now, it's interesting that we have been having ads in the paper since. This is an ad in 2012, Ministry of Transport, looking for expression of interest in a port in LeBray. So this is not a new subject. We are not reinventing the wheel, Mr. Ali. We are now trying to do what was requested all along. Again, like I said, maybe we're not knocking the right door, looking for the right. Treda is an interesting place.
Most interesting place in which.
Where? One of the problems is that there have been several.
Yeah, and then we give you a closing comment. Good afternoon.
Ken, I'm hearing everything Zarba is saying, and I would like to need is a good marketing proposal. You seem to have everything right.
Yeah, and let's ask him about that.
Logic will not sell.
Indeed, yes. I think that's a very good point. Do you have a good marketing proposal?
If I were to judge, I think an excellent marketing proposal. But there have been conflicting messages from the government over the years. For example, the Chinese are coming in, and that is precisely what.
But the Chinese is another project, land space. Okay, gentlemen, very quick time. Wade, give us some closing thoughts.
Well, I'm happy that you gave us the opportunity to talk about it, and very grateful to the audience. I think some very intelligent questions came by all callers, and really appreciate it. And Hussain has been at this for many, many years, as you noticed, but a project doesn't materialize overnight. It takes a while, but I think that the timing is right now. The timing is right.
Mr. Hussain, final thoughts.
Mr. Ali, I must say thanks to you and your associate here, Mr. Duki, for having us here this afternoon. I think apart from the merits of the project, I'm not going to go there. But I think we have to, our people must be exposed to other ideas. Hearing too much, I said earlier on how we're going to spend taxpayer money. We haven't started making an argument how we're going to make money yet. I haven't heard an argument made by anybody where show me the income side of the equation. And I think, and I commend you, Mr. Ali, and I would ask you, I began writing a letter 2 weeks ago to you.
You did?
Let us start teasing projects out, interview people who have ideas, who can be marketed to the people. Our people are looking for ideas which we can sell and which can, and I think our system of government is flawed in a certain respect. Our Prime Minister Service Commission and through the 45 statutory agencies. So once a guy gets voted in, he becomes the Minister of Transport, Minister of Trade, Minister of Health, Minister of every damn thing. He knows nothing. So we in the private sector have the responsibility to educate him of what is needed and how it can be done. And we should, that's the American system. They hire a Secretary of Commerce, and they don't bring a green guy in who just wants to be an election in Barrackpore or Port of Spain or where it may be. A seasoned man country, and that's important.
And that's a good discussion we should have at this time with the election. Ved Sriram, thank you both very, very much for being here. We mark to be continued on this conversation. We would, in terms of Ved will be back soon to discuss the economic issues. Ved, any number of issues take, and so many matters with the state of the economy and so on, the media review and all of that. But we'll pick up that discussion. Gentlemen, thank you very, very much for being here. We are on overtime. And Duki, yours truly, Ken Ali. Thank you very much for being with us. All your many calls. We plan to do it tomorrow, Thursday, from 3 to 6, just after 4 p.m. We have an NIS expert. Long before that, the 6 p.m. newscast with our colleague Aruna. And just after that, the man of the moment, I was telling him the man of the hour, and then he reminds me, as many of Mukesh Baburam. Thank you again. Have yourselves a wonderful evening.